Introducing Ethiopia's Freedom Tours. What is an Ethiopian Freedom Tour? We are giving you the opportunity to visit us in Ethiopia on your terms. You pick the date, summer, spring, October, or December. It's your choice. 3 days, 5 days, 7 or 9 days. It's your choice. Several options to choose from. Tour Addis Ababa. Tour Shashamani, Hawassa and Wando Genet, Lalibela and Aksum, or a combination of them all. It's all up to you. Need more information? Check our Freedom Tour booklet. Press the link in the description or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Ethiopia Freedom Tours. When will you be coming?
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian religious children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled "What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me?" Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum to Lalibela. Menelik the First and Menelik the Second. Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
Since we're on the topic of leadership too, let us, I'm going to return to the camp because I have a few other interesting things I want to get from the camp, but let's come straight to Ethiopia and the IPS and even Shashamani. I know you're now in Wanda Genet, maybe about 9 years.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. But we know, those of us who follow your history, you don't know amongst us, you don't know you're a legend, Yeah, straight up. So we don't know, you govern a lot, even Foundation, Shashamani. But myself, I just traveled about 4 hours to get here.
My Lord.
I've been in Addis Ababa since I've been here.
Right.
Although I've gotten around, because I really get around, but I'm leaving Addis Ababa now.
Rastafari.
And just coming here, I could see the difference. Now, in Addis, my Lord, Ethiopians everyone have their own nature. They're, loving people, very caring people. And they have a certain strictness to them. I'm telling you the truth. I went to the market the other day, the large market in Marikatos. They bow. They want to kiss the feet. Rastafari and the whole works, fair enough. When we came to Shashamani, myself and the 2 honorable prophets that were with us, you see, I have on my robe. And no disrespect, but the people they have a sternness to them. And they watch you and just observe you. Even though we're in Shashamani, it's a little different here than Addis. My Lord, from the time you appear, the whole atmosphere changed. All right. We sat, we had chai. I think they had some buna. That's tea and coffee.
Yeah.
And then we separated again, and me and the prophets, we went to a bus station to wait on the eye.
Rastafari.
Same thing. Not that people were not friendly, but You know, and they pass and they watch you. When you came in the yard, it was as if the governor appeared and everyone started to smile. And so obviously you have to have had some level of strong influence and leadership in this community. We know that you are an official citizen of Ethiopia, not just here holding out and trying to make, not putting nobody under the bus, but you are an official citizen. And I know you would have been awarded, I don't know if it's several times, by high officials as it relates to your work in the community. Before I even ask you about, your vision for Bobo Shanti, the community going forward, tell us a little bit about what you would have accomplished, even if, again, it's in a capsule, since you've been here to now, that we can even see the level of respect that I see with my eyes that you get in the community.
My lord, give thanks. We have to be honest and truthful among ourselves. When Jah choose many of the brethren them, as we're going back to before me answer the question.
True, my lord, take it.
Yeah, Jah choose brethren, who we think would be honest and truthful to the cause. But in reality, they are not. Many ones out there right now who would speak about Jah and Ray, they are not honest and truthful to the cause. Yeah? And so I man come to Ethiopia, I man come to Shashamane, where many are condemn. Many Congress members condemn because of
no man's land.
Yeah, because of ignorance and silliness and cynicalism within themselves. And so Jah bring I man there, bring I man come, because a vision again, Rastafari.
Thunder.
It's a vision who carry me a Shashamane. I man get up one morning and say, he used to go to Montego Bay from Kingston, was about 250 miles from, yeah? And I man see the blue and white taxi. And I say, wow. And a blue and white taxi running in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa too. Where me is today. And I say, wow.
Mistakes.
Yeah. And that's how I man tell the sister, yeah, I have to go to Shash now. I have to go see Shash. That's how I man came. Now when I man came.
And before you go, so how many years in this?
I man spend 2 years.
Okay.
Maybe 2, 3 years. And 2.5 years. In Addis, between Addis and a place named the Brizet. Bishop too. Yeah. So when I came to Shash, again as we say, I man take off my robe. Not disrespect. But feel like there was work to be done. There was work to be done. Because of the land which was given to us. And the land was an immunity to the people of the West. The cow mess up the road. The land need to plow, and there was no one. So when I came, I take off my robe. Yeah, and physically went out on the field to go meet individuals. And meeting individuals, remember, see a Ethiopian. And yeah, the man was so attractive to I. And that intervention where the man bring to I, it lead I man, to really meet with the local administration of the land. And meeting these administration of the land, it's like as the I say, it's like them say, God come. The man them the people them open up now to I. And I saw the land return to I and I. In small kind. As the priest had said away, we are going to Africa, but we're not going to buy no land, but we will contribute a compensation for the land. That's what the priest had said. So in small kind, the land returned to I, and they make I man be the governor over the land at that time. So from there on, the work with Jamaica I man start to really employ among the people then. You know, the various honors with I man certificates. I remember me get a vision, you know, as him say, synchronicity. Where the vision where it becomes so real. I man see a vision where the priest call I man. And I show I him house. It's last year.
Yes, family, enough thunder, but the thunder coming in at some key time. Yeah, the father.
Yeah, show me a vision of him house.
And interestingly enough, oh my, you know when me and you shook hands today, an earthquake shaking Antigua, eh?
Rastafari.
Yeah, man, the Empress, you were right there when she called. I said, my Lord, earthquake, big earthquake. I said, I right here, I just meet the priest for the first time.
Mystical,
right.
my Lord.
True.
So, the priest call priest man, want to the work strongly, loud and strong. The master call us. Rich rewards he offers thee, gladly take the task he give you. Answer quickly when Jah call it. Here am I, send me. And that was the fulfillment of the vision. He said, my Lord, me also want to repair. See if now hole in the roof, my Lord, I also want to repair. And I need 5,000 nail. Jump up that vision. And the works that I man was doing now within the community, trying to resettle my fellow brethren and sisters during the time where I man was there. With the land where them start return forward to I and I in small kind. Yeah. I man, they call me. The local administration called me to them office. And I went to the office. Nana Elder, who I man came here and see who was here, was a part of the EWF. But strong man, you know, and from my man come a yard man, he reach out to me so much. So he always accompany me because it's like it was me alone. The elder who me came with in the Tradan, you know, which Jarrett him soon.
And I priest.
Yeah, I man put him down, you know. And so when I man went to the office, me carry the elder with me and a dog. Me have a dog with me, she never leave me, my lad. And the dog came with me too. And it was like, I listen us when them see the dog. So anyway, we went in at the meeting and she was outside, sit down outside, waiting for me. God, this is how she rests with me. And there was some raindrops, just like we hear the thunder roll from.
Becoming heavier.
Yeah, because the rain now come. And when I man look up and hear the raindrops, I drop on the roof, my lad, and I look up in at the roof, at the whole I man see. In at the roof, where I man saw in the vision, where the priest show I man. Judgment. At the vision this.
5,000 years.
Yeah, at the vision this, my lad. So me come back down here and the chairman now was saying that they're going to build a new office because this is a whole, and what can we contribute to it? And I said, okay, all right.
And that time you done reflecting as well.
Yeah, I had a vision this.
Yeah.
So from him,
All of that rumbling is thunder.
mentioned
But
that.
they don't know that.
No.
You know when the world was saying, wow, this is something else.
This is it. So from him said that and mentioned that, no, me tell him, okay, we can contribute some zinc. All right, let me go out and go. And him free me. Yeah. And I got trust over 50 sheet of drink, over 50 sheet of cocoa roll, which is zinc. I man got trust from the hardware and carry it back. while them was meeting, same while the meeting was. And the man said, whoa. And he stopped the meeting and call out everyone and tell them, look, him just suggest something and, you know, and I go fulfill it. So everyone should have. And from there. So that is what really bring that kind of honor and favorship and fellowship with the IC today, that the people then could have really said, why it's like when they are in the bus and hear them still the honor where sometimes to bypass them with that kind of like, you know, if we go in at the bus station, yeah, I go out on the road to even to catch the bus when I want to see me.
Yes.
As me share it with
Yes.
So this was right. So this was part of way, and it grew and grew. Me establish a security post as the IC, where we sit today and drink the buna and the coffee. Yeah,
Bank and everything.
yeah, we're bank, gas station.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's through this security post where I'm organize and architect with the community, with a few community members, like the Virgin where you see today, where you see come sit down with me and introduce you, them Virgin there, and other individuals.
Unity.
Yeah. And so you could have seen even photograph, certificate, medals. It sprang from where here I'm gonna tell you about the vision. So in a nutshell, we see that the vision where the pre-show was here. It was in Ethiopia. The reflection of it was like Jamaica, but the reality of it was in Ethiopia. Because we go see the roof, the hole in the roof, where the raindrops make me really see it. Because the raindrops never drop near the mountain, they look up.
And look how you get the galvanized, so the zinc galvanized, so it's simple.
Right. Jam it, me go credit it.
50 of them.
Yeah, over 50. Yeah? And the man, he never hesitate.
Yeah, how much nails he gave? 5,000? Yes, Holy Emmanuel.
Selassie, yeah.
Rastafari. Yes, my Lord, give thanks, you know. Very powerful, and even, you know, even if you want to continue, but yeah, I speak the language. This is the next thing, yeah, fluent. Maybe you may say, well, you're not as fluent as you're supposed to be from a humble state.
My Lord.
But and it's not just the Amharic now, like you're speaking, Amharic, but you have the Oromo language, which is called the Oromo. It doesn't have something Oromo, yeah?
Oromia means the region, the Oromia region, or the Oromia government. But Oromo,
the language itself.
the name of the people.
And what they call the language, and the language positive. So,
yeah.
I mean, even then, I know being around it, obviously, you learn it. But obviously, you also apply yourself to it. And you read it as well.
Yes, my lord.
So, I mean, all of these things are to be commended. But before we even move on, the award that you received lately, give us a little detail. I know, you know, Manuel, here you get an award, and, you know, the police give you an award, all sorts of things in here, but I wouldn't even go into that. But give us a little, you know, give us an understanding of the ramification of them awards.
Well, again, it works, you know, my lord.
You know what they
As the final thing which Jared said to me, you need reality action. You need more reality action from I and I. No, again, just coming from that point where everything stemmed from the roof and the car in our day. I man establish a security post in a Shashamane, which Shashamane was a vulnerable place. Very vulnerable place.
You mentioned that today. You couldn't stand up here.
No. When I'm on, certain hours a night you have to try reach your home. Because it was like a lawless kind of vibration. Yeah, people get robbed, people get stabbed up, people. So it's so much different kind of. And so me lose a brethren, a Bobo brethren at my camp at the compound, which was very sad. You know, in a nutshell, still you know, misunderstanding again and ignorance create that kind of vibes there. So from that, it's like the spirit of security, you know, came to I and I, because as a youth again, I grew up around that. As I said, I grew up among races where they were vanguard for the community. So it's like that was like a training for me also, where we provide security for the people in the community. In that sense. But in the sense now, when we see that, you know, it maybe wasn't legal. We that deal with it, illegal farm. You know? So, being here now, I see how the situation rests. We decide to say, well, the new year was coming up, and the authority called us to a meeting. And the head of the security present again to I and I. They want to establish a security post in our community. What can we contribute to such fullness? And within the gathering, what was there, after the meeting finished, them say, I man to stay behind. I man to stay behind. So the first award where I man get was from the roofing. That was my first. Yeah, that was the first break-in. Where them could have called me up in before hundreds of people. Where the mayor himself was expressing Iman exemplary life what Iman was doing in Shashamane among the community. And so that was my first break when we get that award. Yeah. So the security post now after them call, yeah, Iman told them that I can make a decision or tell them where Iman can contribute to them right now. Then go back to my community and speak with my community, because it's like them have Iman as the sole representative. Although you have people who was here before Iman.
Yes, of course.
Yeah? But them see Iman now as the real leader of the community, the true representative of the community. That's where I may speak about the leadership role.
Yes, man.
Because when Iman told them that, Iman called the committee where Iman did organize, including Bomaraki, Jaris Msudu, and the elder again, when I tell you about, Jaris them soul. They all were there. And Iman told them of the meeting and what was requested. And after the meeting where we had, we say, let us go to the place, because it was a elder premises, property. So we said, let us go to the place and view the place and see what we could have did really. And that was it. We went there and look around the perimeter at the place, and we see all the place, and we are saying, all right, we could do this then now. Yeah, we could drop some load of stone and sand before going back to them. And you know, they come visit the place. They had the security and the main barrage come visit the place, not knowing I and I were there. And when they came, them come see stone, yeah, we just say we could move, and them give me the energy, them give me, say, yeah man, make way. Yeah, the elder them, I say, all right. Me tell one of the brethren again, when me tell you as a being gay, me tell him organize to get 2 load of stone, and he did it. So when the authority came, them see that it was surprised. They were surprised And the man said, whoa, priest, you're far ahead away. Because we were there waiting to say you'd come back and give me a reply, but we come see I work, you're working. Wow. And from there, that seal the relationship between I and them. And so again now, my second award was that leadership that I display in a Shashamane. You know, I may have all of those things. So the respect where you see it unfold to me, it never just come like that. It's because of the works and the ears. And they believe me for what me speak. Because I tell them, say, no, me not going to do that then. So they know when whatever I man speak, they know I man. Yeah, I will fulfill what I man speak. So them trust me for the words that I man speak and for the integrity I man display among them. So these are the, you know, and so that security post, and then they call me again to be part of the MIA committee, development committee.
The MIA
Development committee. So from there on, yeah, we end up build another police station for the city, to establish security in the city. You know? And also, them call I man to be an observer on the political election chair seat as observer. We observe the electoral system with AAU, with OAU official. So all of these award that I man achieve coming from all of those works. We get medal from the president himself, you know. He congratulating I man for them works. The
president of Ethiopia?
Yeah, the president of the Oromo.
Oh, the Oromo, okay.
Yes. Also, they had a five-year annual conference with the Oromo conference, which I was the only person from the community they invited to be observer again within that.
Yeah, that
you know?
mighty works.
Again, every 6 month or 3 month annual report, them call it Manamaria. Manamaria means house of council.
Manamaria.
Yeah. They invited me from the community to sit within the council.
That's the same elder council that you...
No, a different council.
Wow. And that one is
Shashamane.
No, the word elder. Shimagli. Yeah. Wow.
So they called me to this council, representing the community, that I could really bring forward problems, because that's the report of the Manamari Council, which is the Oromo Council. Yeah? And then the Gimgima. You have a thing named Gimgima. Evaluation. They always invite me also to that.
These are Oromo words?
Yeah.
Gimgima. Not Amharic.
No. Yeah. Means evaluation. So when them have evaluation, they invite me also to the evaluation. And I would sit there, listen to them, take my notes, which them always goes, you understand everything we are? Maybe not 100, but me can identify maybe because whatever you really, so me just put the things together. And from there, that's what build the trust with me and them. You know? So these are the awards and whatever I man receive came through all of these things. You know? Which, if me that my fellow brethren them, Bobo brethren them, you know, we'd are more effective. But for some reason, Jah make me really leave me on my own. When me say on my own, it was still there with I man. But if me have my Bobo brethren them amongst me, maybe they would have create obstacle and confusion for I man, because they would have a beating on my head, Jah never this and Jah never that, and all different kind of little stupidity they would have bring to I man. For really sabotage me then. Not achieving. But I know if you achieve through simplicity and understanding, because we can see it today among the brotherhood. There's confusion, chaos. Every brethren I man reach out to or even hear my brethren, it's sad for really I express it this way today.
Nothing wrong, like, it's good.
But it come away when me hear my elder brethren them today when me grew up with. In a harder way, I tell me some little, it make me really I wonder what is really happening. So me say why Jah really keep me alone then? When me don't have this kind of nonsense in my head. I tell me about Jah never this and Jah would this and Jah never ray. When Jah is a simple man. A simplicity. Because he would have said something to me. And then he would have said, oh, you see it, my lad?
Sure.
Oh, you see it. So he want to hear your advice and understand where you reach in yourself to really comply back to what he was suggesting. He would have asked this question, oh, you see it, my lad. So today, give thanks really that I could have enter I domicile that me establish up yourself in your own 9 years, as we say. And the respect and the honor with the people then. As the I see.
So in a sense, I mean, the I build this, well, let me not put all that on you. But the I was a key part of building what we see all around us infrastructure-wise as well.
Yes, my lad. I'm a builder. From camp. Yeah, if you see a video with the priest, they stand up with the long rod, and you see the veranda railing around. I'm white room.
With priest Jesus next to him,
No, him alone stand up.
Oh, we looking up there.
Yeah. I man do all of those works. Yeah, when the man da call I man and give I a work. That's when as me tell you in the vision. Physically he would have call I. If he said, boy, please
set up a veranda.
Yeah, never veranda, but he would have lied. Yeah. And then he would have tell you, say, go check Priest Turks.
True.
Okay, tell Priest Turks I man. Yeah.
True.
Because so that are the fullness, my lad.
And since, and just
Introducing Ethiopia's Freedom Tours. What is an Ethiopian Freedom Tour? We are giving you the opportunity to visit us in Ethiopia on your terms. You pick the date, summer, spring, October, or December. It's your choice. 3 days, 5 days, 7 or 9 days. It's your choice. Several options to choose from. Tour Addis Ababa. Tour Shashamane, Hawassa and Wando Genet, Lalibela and Aksum, or a combination of them all. It's all up to you. Need more information? Check our Freedom Tour booklet. Press the link in the description or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Ethiopia Freedom Tours. When will you be coming?
Blessed love to each and every one. Give thanks for your presence with us. We definitely give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life in all good doings and sayings. It is a joy again for us to be here, of course, in the Tiger's Nest. And, in the webinar zone, we are thankful for all those who have stepped in early, and we are looking to definitely elevate this evening. For those who may be coming into this zone for the very first time, I'm very thankful for your presence with us. And of course, tonight we will be directly dealing with the lecture entitled "A Chalice in Wonderland." And let me just say that for sure, I could definitely promise you that we will be taking this to a different level. What I want to do this evening, we will be covering the subject on different aspects. For sure, we will be highlighting more so than anything the science of the psychedelics and the parallel worlds and the different dimensions that has been expressed specifically in the Walt Disney's version, the movie, animated movie of Alice in Wonderland. That is basically where we are going to be sealing up this evening. But even prior to that, we have to take a look at the origin of this story. We want to somewhat look into the author of the original story. We want to see exactly what steps it took before Walt Disney took it up, and of course the levels that he took it to. So just giving you a good idea. And let me just say, I see Brother Jimmy Lights is in the house. Brother Jimmy Lights, please check your email. And if not, I am asking you to at least recontact me again. Very important. I am trying to get a few information from you, my good brother. Please check that email there. Now, as I said, my family, again, of course, I know some of you already have your chalice there ready to go. I don't have to ask. And those who may not have ordered their chalice as well as yet, you definitely, all you have to do, if you are, as I said, a new individual to our scope here, yes, by the time we're done tonight, you'll see the heights of the chalice and why it's important. Those who have ordered their chalices and have not received them as yet, more than likely, they're very close. I'm sure maybe this strong, you will be receiving them. Now, many of us would have, read or at least heard of the story Alice's Adventure Underground. We're not specifically speaking at this time of Disney's Alice in Wonderland. We have to make this clear distinction here. There is Walt Disney's version of Alice in Wonderland. Now, prior to that, you have Alice in Wonderland, and even after that, they have so many different movies that have been made about Alice in Wonderland. Okay, but then you have Alice Adventures in Wonderland. And then as you could see here, we have Alice's Adventures Underground. That is something different. And even after that, you Alice's Adventures Underground, you have Alice Through the Looking Glass. So somewhere between 1860 and 1865, we had the creation specifically of Alice's Adventures Underground, and then Alice Through the Looking Glass. And then eventually that author eventually came forward with the world-renowned Alice in Wonderland. Now, really, where we are going here, we need to somewhat highlight not just the origin of the story, but the individual which is said, who is said to have created this. How did he come, by this idea, and who is he, by the way? So you would always hear of the famous Lewis Carroll. From my understanding, outside of Shakespeare and the Bible, I think Lewis Carroll is the most quoted author in history. So you'd always hear people speak of, well, Shakespeare said something and the Bible said. Well, outside of the Bible and Shakespeare, it's Lewis Carroll that will come up next. Okay, so who is Mr. Carroll here?
he is a mathematician. He's also known as Reverend. His real name is Charles Dodson, but his writer's name is Lewis Carroll. He was considered to be very mystic in his writing. In fact, he himself says that within his stories, his characters are layered. That is his statement, meaning that his characters has different identities. So in other words, in his writing styles, he would use a lot of symbolism, undertones, and esoteric messages. That is for sure, without a doubt, pardon me, to the point when even he himself would admit this. So as far as the Alice now vibration, who is Alice? Where did he get this idea? Now, this is more than just an idea. This is a reality, because Mr. Lewis Carroll, as I said, he was a mathematician, and he also was a teacher at the Christ Church, Oxford University. Hear me good. And young Alice Liddell, that's her here, that's young Alice Liddell, she herself, she was the daughter of the dean of the university at the time. So follow this story good, eh? So Mr. Lewis Carroll, the world-renowned famous author, when he met young Alice Liddell, he was 24 and she was 4 years old. So in other words, he would have been her senior approximately 20 years. He met her along with her two older sisters, but they were of similar age. So according to the story now, Mr. Carroll, Mr. Lewis Carroll, one day with his friend, Mr. Duckworth, they took the three little girls for a boat ride up the Thames River, going to a specific place where they had a picnic. The place is called Godstow. I mean, everything I'm saying is so important. Now, she was about 6 or so at that time, and according to the accounts given by biographers, etc., she pressed hard upon Mr. Carroll to tell them, the girls, a story. So they wanted a story from Mr. Carroll, because Mr. Carroll now, Mr. Lewis Carroll, if you're being introduced to him, in fact, he is an individual that there's a lot of conspiracy over him. The debate continues over him. In fact, many people plainly says that he was a pedophile. In fact, some of his own biographers says that he had more than a friend-like relationship with the young Alice. That's just the reality of it. And of course, we're not trying to state no one's name. We're just looking at history in its realistic perspective. Now, the reason why I have to highlight these things, and I'm not staying too long on this, but there's a reason why you have to highlight these little things. It's very, very important, because the writers of a lot of our stories, a lot of our nursery rhymes, a lot of the things that we, take in at a young age, when you check the state of mind, their mentality, their concepts of things, you got to wonder. So what about the fella that wrote Rockabye Baby on the Treetop? If you take your time and you go into history and you understand the mind frame of a lunatic that would tell you to put a little baby on the top of a tree, so when the wind blows, it will blow it off and kill everyone. It's just, that's why you have to take your time and break down the psychology of the writers of some of these stories. Now, Alice in Wonderland, I am telling you, that is a puzzle. So you have to take your time to at least understand the mind frame of the brainchild, the individual that brought this to light. You want to see at least what he or her, what they were thinking of at the time, he or she. Now, Mr. Carroll here, Mr. Lewis Carroll, you'll see in a picture of him with the young Alice on his lap. This is another very controversial picture as well, which appears to be Mr. Lewis kissing Alice. This is serious. In fact, within his memoirs, his diary, really, a few pages are missing, and biographers clearly state that some of these pages that were missing indicated that he even proposed to her, even at such a young age. Also, this photo is very controversial. This is of the young Alice Liddell as well, because Mr. Carroll, Mr. Lewis Carroll, he was an artist, he was a magician, he was a photographer, he was a mathematician, and he was also a reverend. So he was practicing celibacy also, supposedly, at the time. So when you put all of this together now, what stands out about this picture that he took of her is that usually the young, Alice is seen well covered and well dressed. She's the daughter of the dean of the Oxford University. Follow me good. But for whatever reason, Mr. Lewis Carroll, the world-renowned author, somewhat, put her together and took this, what became very famous picture. In fact, if you really examine the picture close enough, her left nipple is being showed as well. So, I mean, it's obvious, there'll be those that would want to defend that. As I said, we're just here to highlight the truth, and we want to bring everything in perspective. Now, specifically, the Martin N. Cohan, I'm just going to read a statement here. And this is the author of Lewis Carroll biography. And he states that Lewis Carroll was emotionally involved with the young Alice. There was no question about it. Now, that is his statement. Now, what I'm saying is that going up the river, she asked him, according to the story, to tell her a story, and it is said that just out of his head, Mr. Lewis Carroll began to speak of this white rabbit going down this hole, the rabbit hole. And the young Alice, because he put her in the story right away, went down following the rabbit. And then the story went on and went on and went on. So he eventually, this is Mr. Lewis Carroll, he eventually penned the book in his own handwriting. He was considered to be a perfectionist. Anyone who has studied him, especially if you are a student of literature, more than likely you would have studied Lewis Carroll, you would know that he was, again, a perfectionist when it came to his work. Now, as I said, he wrote the book. What you are seeing is actually his writing and his drawing. He wrote it and he drew it, the original copy of Alice's adventure underground. And within the story, obviously, you found the mystics that appeared. You have the dodo bird. Now, the dodo bird is him, because the different characters in Alice in Wonderland, whether it's Alice's adventure underground, or Alice looking through the mirror, or Alice through the looking mirror, I should say, the point is that these characters are real people. So the dodo bird was said to be Mr. Lewis Carroll himself, who originally his name was Charles Dodson. which really it is said that he stammered. So when he pronounced his name, he always said dud, dud, and then his name. So it is said that he was the dodo bird within the story. The white rabbit, according to the science, was considered to be the doctor of the little family, not little family, Liddell. So we're getting now to a kind of understanding of the origins of this. We haven't gone anywhere yet. We're just kind of, you know what I mean, cleaning it up for you so you kind of see where it all began, you know, the reason for this. So as I said, he put that together. He created these different characters. You don't know who the characters are within Alice in Wonderland, Alice Adventures Underground, and again, Alice Through the Looking Glass, which came into what we know now as Alice itself in Wonderland. All right. Of course, we could go deeper into that origin. You know, just keep in mind that they went into a rowboat and they were going up the Thames River. That's very important. They were going to Godstow, you know, and that is where the story was told. And it began with the white rabbit going in the hole, and Alice, the young Alice, about 6 years old, following the rabbit. And as you could see, Alice now, she was not blonde like the character that we know. She had black hair, or what they would call brunette, but somehow she became blonde, not only in the Walt Disney story, but in the story in general. All right. Now, what I would like to highlight now in this next stage of this expression is the importance of understanding the ancient philosophy of the goddess going into the underworld to redeem herself. And you see it in many different ways, in many different philosophies and different cultures. Now, many psychologists, when they try to break down Alice in Wonderland, you know, they look at Alice, of course, with the mind of a child and how a child would look at the adult. So all of the weird characters that she would have met in Wonderland, Tweedledee and Tweedledum and the Cheshire Cat, and of course the caterpillar with the hookah, the Mad Hatter and the hair, and all of these different folks, they are considered the queen. They're considered to be adults through the eye of a child. And this is how some psychologists would, you know, portray or explain the story, the movie, the book. Now, they may be correct, again, on that level, because it's different levels, and this is extremely layered. So this is another level now. You have many stories of the goddess going into the underworld. You have many stories of the goddess going into the Amenta and redeeming herself. Now, let me read this for you. This is about the goddess known as Ainana. You seeing this here? You seeing this here on the screen? It has healing stars. Okay. Now, let me just read this. This is coming from out of the Sumerian region, Babylonian region. Now, listen to this, my family. Ainana's descent into the underworld. She's the queen of heaven. There are many myths about the descent of the goddess. Do you get that? There are many myths about the descent of the goddess. This is the story of Ainana, the ancient myth that predates the male gods such as Zeus. This is when the goddess ruled the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. The oldest known myth is Babylonian and was written on clay tablets in the 3rd millennia BC. Now, of course,
they're talking of the Sumerian, but that's not necessarily true that it's the oldest, you know, but that's another kind of discussion there. It is usually known as the descent of Ainana, the Sumerian queen of heaven and earth. This myth is about the meeting of the queen of heaven with her sister, queen of the underworld. It is a story about meeting the dark shadow side, of one's self. And believe it, that is how some people, this is how some psychologists even interpret the Alice in Wonderland's story of an individual meeting the dark or the shadow side of their self. This is a story of the original duality, the Gemini story of our other half. Okay, now listen to this. This is some heavy stuff here. Ayana is queen of heaven, having received her spiritual heritage from her father in the form of qualities needed to fulfill her role. She has to stand firm against him as he tries to take back his gifts. So she has to stand firm against her own father as he tries to take back the gifts. Sounds like Yenenga, and how the name seems very similar. Ainana, Yenenga, which is the African princess. Good. So Ainana marries a humble young shepherd called Dumuzi, who becomes a god king. They have an ecstatic union, but after the honeymoon, Dumuzi exhorts Ainana, let me go, sister, let me go. Ainana decides to visit her sister in the underworld whose husband has just died. However, she isn't on good terms with her. So as a precaution, she instructs Ninshuber, her trusted female servant, go get help if she does not return within 3 days. Now, it's interesting, you know, because really the whole science of the chakra now is going to come in. And I just want to highlight all of this here for the people. Now here it says here, at the first gate of the underworld, Ainana is stopped and asked to declare herself. This is very important. At the first gate of the underworld, Ainana is stopped and asked to declare herself. The gatekeeper informs Iresk Kigal, queen of the great below, that Ainana, queen of heaven, of the place where the sun rises, asks for admission to the land of no return to witness the funeral of Gugalana, husband of Iresh Kigal. Now, what is interesting there is that she's asked to declare herself at the first gate. Now, of course, we know even in the movie Alice in Wonderland, she comes to the door that is giving her a little problem to get in, and she had to get big and get small and get a key to get in. We'll get into all of that soon. But if you can remember, when she came across the caterpillar asked her continually, who are you? Now, according to the story of the goddess going into the underworld, one of the first things that she must do when she reached to the first gate is declare herself. And declaration of self is something that is well known in the ancient world. And this is why on the temples of Kemet, you would see it written, man, know thyself. Is the same thing. It's the answer to the question. Man, know who you are. Know thyself. The same concept of God within. Declare yourself. Who are you? So this science now
of even the white rabbit, and this is what proves that we're dealing with sheer Masonic philosophy here. Because even in this 1604 painting, you could see the white rabbit. And the white rabbit represents the guide into salvation. So the white rabbit will go through the rabbit hole, and you follow this white rabbit to your destiny, to your salvation. It's a Masonic understanding from such time. So listen to me good, eh? So you'll find this tradition in many different folklores, even in Europe. So you have different forms of the rabbit, the same rabbit that you must follow. So you have Puka. Here you see Puka now sitting in the tree. This is the Irish version of the rabbit that you must follow. Puka is seen as a goat sometimes, and sometimes seen as a rabbit, or seen as a mixture of both. So we have Puka here, also known as Puck or Pook. The Irish and the English refer to this rabbit as Puck or Pook. Now, interesting, eh? In the Shakespearean story, the Midsummer's Night Dream, it speaks about a Puck. I want you to follow me good. Puck is the rabbit, also known as Puka, also known as Pook. And this rabbit, just like the Freemasonic understanding, this rabbit will run into the hole here. You see it here. This look like the sugar mill of Rastafari, man. This rabbit will run into the hole, and the initiate will follow the rabbit. That's a part of it. It's not me making this up here. That's how it goes. So again, this is seen in many different aspects as it relates to the European tradition. Now I'm showing you Shakespeare wrote about Puck. And Puck now, this is a little Puck here. Puck looks very similar to Pan. You see, they're related and interrelated with the little Tinkerbells around him. So Puck, the little goat man, as I said, sometimes Puck is seen as a goat, and sometimes Puck is seen, not a hockey puck now, Puck is seen as the rabbit, as you obviously see here. And just to show how crafty they are in their masonry, that when you look at the Edwin's, before we get to you, Coyote there, when you look at Edwin's Landshare's artistry of the Midsummer Night Dream, this is it here. If you look good, follow me, eh? Hope we're not going too fast for you. If you look good, this is the Midsummer's Night Dream painting by Edwin Landshare. If you look over here, this is Shakespeare's Puck. You see him here? And you also have the White Rabbit, specifically, what you call this, diagonally, perfectly arranged in order to align with the Puck, because the rabbit is Puck. So you see the white rabbit here, even the little hole here, the same hole you have to follow the rabbit through, because you will always see it in their artistry, because it's Masonic artistry for sure. All right, so the white rabbit now is understood. Nothing here is done by mistake, and Mr. Lewis Carroll for sure was obviously some sort of initiate within this science. Remember, you know, this is what we have been speaking about for a while. If you have not seen the lecture that we did, Fairy Tale Folly Days and Nursery Crimes, you should definitely take a look at that. You know, when we took the time to show you how they took, what's his name there, Chippendale fella there. Chippendale, what was his, Thomas Chippendale from Otley in England. in about 1810. I think that's when he was born, and he himself was a mason. But what he did, he would craft the Masonic science using wood. So he's one of those woodsmen, like the carpenter. You know, that's why I said in the Bible, Christ is seen as a carpenter, which may seem like the opposite of a mason. Mason deal with stones, carpenter deals with, you know, woods and hammers and nails, etc., etc., etc. So Pinocchio's father, Geppetto, he's seen as what? As a woodsman, because he cut the woods and he made the puppets and brought them to life. This is not just Walt Disney's version of Pinocchio. I mean the Pinocchio story in general. So the science of the woodsman is very, very important, extremely, extremely important, especially in a case like this. As we said, we're dealing with the carpenter. You understand? So this understanding now of going into the different dimensions was something that Mr. Carroll clearly understood. Now, when we did the Stargate program, we were speaking of sites like this where the native people of South America will speak of, you know, sites where you could go and ancient legendary heroes would have gone and would have touched the stone or touched the door, and they would have gone into a different world, something like a wormhole, and would appear in another dimension, or would appear in a parallel world, or appear somewhere else on some other plane, some other world, some other planet, some other galaxy, somewhere else. And the planet is littered with this sort of understanding. So this is what you see highlighted here in the Roadrunner cartoon. This is the tunnel that Mr. Coyote is always painting. He's a painter too. Always does a good job. He does so good of a job that after painting this tunnel with the road and the line in the middle of the road and the end of the tunnel and the sun and the shadow, he's a serious artist. Mr. Roadrunner would come and just run right through the wall. He would run through the tunnel. And then Mr. Coyote now, when he tries to run through the tunnel, he would hit his head, he would fall on his back. I'm sure he would get a headache, but he'll be up again trying some other trick to catch the Roadrunner. Now the science here, and interesting, listen to this. All of this is taking place in the Grand Canyon. And it is said that the Grand Canyon has several stargates. I've never visited the Grand Canyon, but again, it is said that the Grand Canyon has several stargates. So when Hanna and Barbara, the creators and those who brought Roadrunner to the world, when they brought this idea of making portals in the Grand Canyon, it was something that the native people have been speaking about for a long time. But it was now placed in a little cartoon, and we laugh, he's going to run into the wall. Sometimes the coyote gets through the Stargate, the tunnel, but then there's a train coming on the other side. So it never really works out for him. But that's the idea that they're pitching to you in this cartoon. The science of the Stargate, the science of the portals, the science of going into another world, the science of traveling to a different dimension, because the ancient ones always believed in that. Now, of course, the debate will come up, and we did address it. So, do you believe that someone actually went and touched the rock and disappeared? Everything went, clothes, shoes, socks, everything went into this parallel world, into this other dimension. They say they have 11 dimensions, parallel worlds. These are real things. This is nothing to scoff at. Different dimensions exist. It's reality. They say there are at least 11 dimensions. Parallel worlds for sure definitely exist. This is scientifically proven. When you understand the science of what is known as you have matter and antimatter. Antimatter specifically exists in the parallel world. But yet still now, and we have proven, and when I say we, the scientific world has proven now that there is a parallel world because antimatter is used in specific brain scans, PET scans and CAT scans and these different scans. Antimatter is utilized. But according to them, before that age, antimatter only exists in a parallel world, you know. So the parallel world idea and concept is not too far off. It's just a reality. So there are means and ways of connecting to this parallel world. Most of us here, we are not directly connected to the parallel world. Maybe when we go to sleep and we're dreaming, we somehow get a little window into the astral world. But because we're not consciously aware of what's going on, we do not, purposely enter into this zone with confidence, knowing that I'm going to another world. In the same way that you board a plane and say, well, I'm going to New York, I'm going to London, I'm going down to South Africa, and I'm going to be there in an hour, and I'm going to meet you by the I don't know, wherever I'm going to meet you, because you have, purposely, consciously planned your movement. And that's how we move. We purposely plan that we go into a next dimension. It doesn't just happen by chance. We don't trip and fall down the rabbit hole. We know what we're doing as ancient people, and that is why we have so many evidence within our literature, on the walls, our writings, our artwork, showing us, going to different dimensions and encountering different vibrations. So now they're going to put it on TV and tell you about ancient aliens and somebody coming from space and take away all the credit from you, where it's all within it. It's all within. It is all within. There is a reality there where you purposely, as I said before, what's his name? Fingerprints of the God, John Hancock, where he clearly says, and I agree with him, that the movements that was done in ancient time from one dimension to the next dimension was a purpose conscious decision to alter your psychological state of mind. Real thing, alter the frame of thought as such to take you to a different dimension. And to do this, they would have utilized specific psychedelic material. You have plants, specifically more than likely it would be plants. But at the same time now, and when we say plants now, this is an idea of the movements to another dimension. When we say plants now, you have several plants. You have the blue lotus that is highlighted many times in ancient scriptures. You have the different levels of the acacia plant that is highlighted in ancient medical papyri. Of course, you have the cannabis sativa, of course, the granddaddy and the giant. And there are other plants that individuals utilize to, if you want to say, take them on a spiritual journey. So now we use all sorts of phrases for this sort of movement. We say they have altered their state of thinking. They're on a psychedelic trip. They're high. They're red. What else they say? They're stoned. All sorts of things we apply to this action. But what is really happening here? You're not red, you're not stoned, you're not high, you're none of these things. What is happening is that you are naturally, as a human being, and it happens to animals too, you are naturally engaging with another dimension. That's what's happening, eh? You're here, but you're there. When you partake of these mind-altering substances, what they do, And different substances do different things, carry you different places, because there are many places to go. Listen to me good. There are many places to go. You see the movie we're going to go into now, Alice in Wonderland? It's talking about different levels of the psychedelic. That's why it's called Chalice in Wonderland, because it is talking about the chalice, and it's talking about the tree of life too. But it's talking about mushrooms, and I'm telling you, that movie is also talking about drugs. You see me? So LSD takes you somewhere else when compared to, let's just say, cannabis sativa. And of course, the different levels of the cannabis also takes you to different levels of that that Zion-like place that cannabis in general takes you. So cannabis in general takes you to a specific place. And the different levels of the cannabis that you're dealing with will take you to different sections of that different place. LSD, speed, crack and cocaine, that takes you somewhere else. Totally different. A real dark zone. But it takes you somewhere. Because all of these things, alcohol, whether it's beer, rum, whiskey, wine, champagne, they all take you somewhere. Because they're spirits. That's why you call them spirits. All of these things have some level of effect on your psychoactive experience. It's just reality. So obviously some are better than some. Some are more natural than some. Some definitely have been, concocted just to examine or test and see where and how far you can go. So that is why even as Rastafari, we deal with the cannabis sativa, the tree of life. It is obvious that the tree of life was prepared for that. Now, me personally, people would tell you, well, I don't need no substance to take me to another level. I don't need this and I don't need that. No, I'm not here to tell nobody what they need. But personally, I consider that statement to be a very pathetic cop-out type of statement. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the Most High created this physical form, and the Most High created everything around us, from the sea, from the lakes, the rivers, the stone, the minerals, the vitamins, and all the plants. Now, you as a human being, you eat. You get nourishment from the plants. If you break your leg, there are plants that can help you. The seawater can assist you. If you have a problem sleeping, there's a plant that can assist you in resting. If you have a problem staying awake, there's a plant that can assist you in staying awake. So in all the different functions of life, the Most High has created plants and other organisms to assist us to reach that goal in every aspect of our life. So for you now to have an experience where you're connecting to the astral world and the etheric world, there's nothing wrong with that. It's natural. We do these things, and there are plants that exist to help you do that. So this weird thinking now that because we feel that, we're so 21st century, and I'm on a natural high, nothing goes so. You lie, you make that up. You're just too afraid to face reality, because that is what it is. All the ancients, the first constellation is a man smoking a chalice. The first constellation is Arcturus, the Bootes, the shepherd with his pipe, because it is a natural thing. The DMT, again, within the plant. It is the DMT. You have the THC as well, but the DMT is in many plants, and that assists us in that whole movement from one dimension to the other. It's a natural thing. You see, the problem is a lot of us, those of us who so-called smoke, we're not too sure, what is going on. That is why sometimes we are afraid to be alone. Yeah, you could sit down and listen to me speaking to you. But if you were to smoke or burn or whatever you call it, and you were to do it, maybe not you, but some people, in the dark by yourself, a lot of people become afraid. Why? Because now they're encountering themselves. That's what happens, eh? You are encountering yourself. The looking glass is in front of you. The God within you is coming out. Just like when you rub the genie comes out and says, hey, what's going on? 3 wishes? Wishes. And listen, if you don't have nothing to tell the genie, don't trouble the genie. The genie would break your neck. If you call a genie, you never watch the movies, man. If you summon a genie and you have nothing to say, the genie would deal with you. It will not be nice. So you better have something sensible to put to the genie. So in the same way, like the chalice is like the genie lamp. And when you rub the lamp, the genie comes out. It's referred to as the genie. The genie is an ancient word for the God. Eh? The genie comes out. And your wish is the genie's command. But a lot of us, we're not aware of that. We don't even make no wishes. We just get scared and run away and we need to eat something quick and try to go to sleep. All sorts of things we do when we summon the genie. Because we're not aware of what we're doing. That's why we have to talk to somebody or, get on the phone or watch something, because we are afraid to be by ourselves. So when you go into that zone, when you meditate, when you partake of the cannabis, when you start to ascend, you are bringing the God out. So it's like you and God there. So this is why now knowledge and information and all of this stuff is so important. So when God appears, you can talk to God and have a sensible conversation with God. But when there's nothing there to say, the genie will get upset. This is real. DMT, THC. It's just a natural thing. And the reason why I'm staying here for a moment is because too many of us, somehow, we have fallen for the trap. So it's about, well, if you want to smoke, it's okay, and everybody don't have to, and try to make it look like some sort of choice and this little thing. Don't make it look so. That's an ancient tradition prescribed by the Most High. Just like eating food, drinking water, jogging, going to the gym. Yeah, if you want to connect to the different levels, I'm telling you. Yeah, you can do yoga all you want, you can Tai Chi all you want. That works too. That works too. But we don't have to get pathetic. There are trees and plants and brews and drinks and all sorts of stuff that has been prepared to take you to another dimension. And give thanks that the Rastafari has highlighted the tree of life, So the ayahuasca, of course, many people speak so highly of the ayahuasca, and they consider that itself takes them into a different dimension altogether. Now, of course, the tree of life. Remember the concept of the tree of life. Follow me good, eh? Remember the concept of the tree of life is the concept of the Christ man. The tree of life is not just a tree. The tree of life is a meditational system, and the tree of life again represents the Messiah. So that is why biblically, again, even in Isaiah, when describing the Messiah, he's seen as the root of David and the branch that shall come out of Jesse, and the stem of Jacob, and these different things, the seed and gem and stem and seed and branch and roots. Sounds like a tree to me, because the tree now itself, the tree of life, again, is an ancient system. It's used in alchemy. It's used in the Kabbalistic system. But of course, it is originally from ancient Africa. So now this is why, although the tree of life is not necessarily a tree, but of course, we definitely, the fact that it's called a tree, there must be a tree that represents the tree of life. And that tree is the cannabis sativa. Now, the anciency of the tree of life, again, as the Christ figure, we've highlighted this. The god Asa, you see Asa, he is green. You see the Osiris figure, he is green. The reason why you see him green is because he represents the tree. You know, he represents the tree of life. He represents the Christ element. I definitely know that the students are clicking 100% with me tonight. So when we look at the molecular structure, for example, of the blood and the chlorophyll of the plant, you could see that it is exactly the same. So the human blood, the molecular structure of its makeup, when compared to that of the plant's chlorophyll, you could see that the only difference is that the plant has magnesium, where the human blood would have iron. You know, again, this is subject areas that we have touched before, but we're bringing it up again as we are delving into this new subject here. Now, the only difference is the iron and the magnesium, and this is why now you could refer to the chlorophyll in the plant as what? The blood of the plant. The chlorophyll in the plant is referred to as the blood of the plant. Very, very important, because it's actually made up like our blood. Good. So the Christ figure now, which is the tree of life. So the Christ is seen like a tree. When we did the chalice lecture, we clearly showed that the marijuana, which is the tree of life, is placed in the chalice just like the sacrifice. And when you burn the chalice and the smoke goes in the water, because that's what happens when you take a drop. The smoke plunges in the water and comes back out, and then you take it in and it goes to the pineal and the full works thereof. That's a process that is taking place there. That's the creation of life. And when you complete burning the chalice, you would notice that the water will be green. Why? Because the water now has turned to the blood of the plant. Remember, the blood of the plant is not human's blood. The blood of the plant is chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is the blood of the plant. That's why the chlorophyll molecule and the human molecule of blood is exactly the same, except for iron and magnesium. That's why when your blood touches oxygen, it turns red. It's not red all the time because it's rusting in a sense, you know, because it's touching the oxygen. So the plant's chlorophyll is symbolic of the blood of the tree of life, or the green man, which is Asa, which is the Messiah that is sacrificed. That's why we showed you in the Holy Grail lecture that the sacrifice is the tree of life. So when the water turns green, it's very symbolic of the water turning to wine, the water turning red, or the water turning to blood. Now, as heavy as that may sound to some, it should be very light, because we have done whole lectures on this specific subject area here. And of course, those that have set this in motion, as far as what we watch on television and what we read in the storybooks, they know exactly what I am talking about here. Because again, this is something we've highlighted several times, but I think before we go deeper, I should highlight again, it's obvious that the Mickey Mouse symbol that has become extremely famous is a replica of the molecular structure of water. Now, this is not just by chance. It would be a very interesting coincidence, if it was that. But no, it's not a coincidence. When you have the power over water, you have a lot of power. And I'm telling you, when you observe the films that were created by Walter Disney, for example, Pinocchio, the science again is very key. Remember in the old Pinocchio story, yes, Pinocchio was swallowed by a fish. Walter Disney came and made Pinocchio to be swallowed by a whale. I'm telling you, even in Christianity, you hear people say Jonah was swallowed by a whale. When the Bible says Jonah was swallowed by a fish, I am telling you, it's the influence that Walt Disney had on that theory, changing the fish to a whale, that even in religion, the science turned from a fish to a whale. That's how strong his influence is, but we've missed that. So although a lot of what I'm saying may sound like, wow, this is a lot of stuff, and wow, I thought we were going to talk about Alice in Wonderland. Well, hey, listen, we didn't come here to play. We came to unravel the mysteries. And with no disrespect to anyone, we're not giving you a second-hand story here. So when we take these different pieces, it's a must, so we can clearly express what is taking place in Wonderland. All right. Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Now, I think we have said enough, so we can just now flow smoothly through the movie. But before we hit the movie here, and I will be sharing the video, and I hope you will be able to pick up the audio, but my engineers will tell me, because this app that we are using here, this software that we are using here, there was an upgrade done which would allow us to use the audio, sound, and sharing the video. So you will tell us when that time comes, if you can. We don't want none of that, man. You tell us when the time comes if you are hearing the audio properly. Okay, good. So this is the opening song in the Walt Disney's movie. I'm sure you've seen everything. You've seen everything there. Okay. Alice in Wonderland. How do you get to Wonderland? You may know the song. It says, over the hill and or under land, or just behind a tree. And interesting, remember that's the original name as such, Alice Adventures Underground. You know what I mean? So how do you get to Wonderland? Now, let's just think of Wonderland. Wonderland is obviously an interesting place. You know, it's obviously a place of where things do not really seem to be how they really are. Now, a lot of people say when people use drugs, and whether legal or illegal, and substances, substance abuse as they call it, people would say that they're trying to get away from reality. Well, let me tell you, I've never used drugs in my life, but maybe I have. Maybe I have, because I have taken some painkillers already. So I would have used drugs. Oh yeah, and I've drunk soda. What else? Oh yeah, I have used drugs. But what they may call drugs, I've never even smoked a cigarette. But apparently, drugs somehow take you away from reality. So if you have a problem and the problems of the world is on you, you just smoke some drugs. Oh yeah, okay now. I don't look at the pink elephant flying. Because remember, in Alice in Wonderland, she saw a rocking horse fly. Now, my experience with the tree of life, I don't know about you, but when I meditate and I partake of the tree of life, my so-called problems don't go nowhere. In fact, that which I may have been trying to hide from will come straight in front of me and say, my Lord, you better deal with this and deal with it now. So I don't know what you're talking about, not you directly. I'm talking about my own experience, and I'm talking about decades of experience. This here, the tree of life, has never taken away nothing from my mind and hidden it from me. It brings up that which I may have even been neglecting and say, yo, deal with it. So I don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, the question is, how do you get to Wonderland? Over the hill or on the land? And listen to this, or just behind a tree. So it's telling you how to get to this place. It's telling you how to get to this world, the different dimension, the etheric world, the astral world specifically, the parallel zone. It's just behind a tree. It's a metaphor, my family. I mean, we've been doing this long enough now. I don't think this is not kindergarten. This is at least the college stage we're at here, just behind the tree. Then it goes on to say, when clouds go rolling by, they roll away and leave the sky, with the land behind, where is the land behind the eye? Pardon me, people cannot see. You understand? So, I mean, behind the eye, man, it's the mind. It's the mind. Where is the land behind the eye that people cannot see? It's the mind that it's talking about. You know, and I could go on and on with this, but, you know, I so want to break it down probably before the time goes away. So, just for overstanding clear, you want to know how to get to Wonderland? It's behind the tree. And clouds have to go rolling by too. This is serious. Now, even before we go into that, let me just give you a good idea of what was said in the song, In a World of My Own. Here is what she says in A World of My Own. Cats and rabbits would reside in a fancy little houses, or in fancy little houses, and be dressed in shoes and hats and trousers. That's pants, for those who don't know. In a world of my own. Okay. All the flowers would have very extra special powers. Now, as I said, even outside of the tree of life, there are several plants, and specifically flowers, that do have very extra special powers. And here it is. They would sit and talk to me for hours. When I am alone in a world of my own. This is what I'm saying. A lot of people cannot sit down and by themselves. Some people can't, you know, communicate with the plant by themselves. and the plant would talk to you. Trust me, the plants have spoken to me for hours. Hours. When I'm alone in a world of my own, and I know most of you that are listening to me can definitely attest to what I am saying here. Okay. Now tell me something. Can you hear what I'm pushing here? You actually hear it? Okay. So you should be hearing this, family. This is the song I was just reading here. Alice in Wonderland. How do you get to Wonderland? You hearing me talk to? You hearing the music? See what's going on here. If they can't hear, it's all right. I'll know what to do. All right. No worry. I'm just checking. You see, pardon me. Agreed to meet. And it says here, this is what she's saying here. Was reading from a specific book known as A Short Course of History by Haviland Chapnells. And it says here, but you can still hear me talking, right? Okay, good. And it says here, this is what she's saying here. And even Stig, the Archbishop of Canterbury, even the Archbishop of Canterbury, pardon me, agreed to meet with William and offer him the crown. Right. That's just a little piece of the movie. Now it may just like, okay, but that came out of an actual book. And the book really was speaking of the rise and fall of the House of Normandy. And at that time, there were a lot of noble women and princesses that had the name Alice. So a little simple thing like that, you know, if it could just slip you and you miss it. But anyway, so here comes the white rabbit. And of course, she's running down the rabbit, going down the rabbit hole. No time to say goodbye. Hello, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. So she goes in the hole and she's falling down. Now, as you can see, she obviously has on her apron. I think anyone that understands masonry knows that the apron is very important to all of this. Now, while falling down the stairs here or coming down, as you see, she picks up a book. These flowers pass as well. You see, these flowers are very important. Picks up the book, flowers pass. Now, you will notice that when she enters into the rocking chair, that is when the chalice appears. When she gets comfortable. At the moment she gets comfortable, that is when the chalice pipes appear. Now listen, nobody can tell me. You can say all you want. Oh, but please, it looks like a teacup. It looks like a teapot. Yeah, well, at least realistically, that is what they're trying to make it look like. But it's obvious. And we know this is a smoking movie. Let's not pretend. Come on. But the moment she gets comfortable is when the chalice appears. You see, look at it. As she gets comfortable. But then she falls out when the chalice disappears. All right. Now, let's observe this. Of course, if you know the movie good, after falling down now, she reached to the doorknob. And the doorknob now is telling her that she cannot pass through. Now look at the walls. This is the hall that she's in. Obviously the floor is checkered. We know checkered floor is a high sign of masonry. But look at the walls. One side of the wall is blue. The other side of the wall is red. And it's blue blood, red blood, it's blue masonry and red masonry. In politics, it's blue and red. That's why in some of these flags, it's red, white, and blue. You know, as the white being the neutral color, the Democrat, the Republican, all of that stuff. There's always a division. You say?
It's on mute.
Yes, I purposely put it on mute so there wouldn't be no distraction since they cannot hear at all. You know, so the point is now, so in this room, of course, you know, this is where she first came across the psychedelics. This one said, "Drink me." And after drinking it, she became large or small. No, she became small. And then the donor told her that, hey, well, I mean, that's nice that you came small, but, you know, you forgot the key. And the key is up there. So then she drank a bit more and then she became bigger. All right. And then after getting big, she started to cry. And her tears that she was dropping down became like a flood. You know, she ate some more of the little treat and she became small again and fell into the bottle that she was drinking from. And she went through the first door and now she's in her own tears, which has become an ocean. And she's in the little bottle. Then the dodo appears. Now, interestingly, remember the dodo is Mr. Lewis Carroll. And the dodo's name is mentioned twice in this movie. Somebody says Dodo. And every time his name is mentioned, Alice would say, Dodo. Every time his name is mentioned, she would say, Dodo. Now remember, you know, in reality, Mr. Alice Carroll has a special, Lewis Carroll has a special relationship with young little Alice Liddell. And from the books to the movie screen, those who know the hidden mysteries would pick it up. But those who don't know it, it will just pass by them. So she calls out to him first for help. When she sees the dodo, she says, help me, Mr. Dodo, help me. Now, as you can see, Mr. Dodo is another smoker, or a smoker, I should say. He definitely is smoking a pipe. And he is just one of the many individuals in this movie that definitely is a smoker. And these smokes always seem to be saying something. This look like EB. Look at it here, EB, because there's always a message in these movies here. Now, after encountering the Mr. Dodo, she came across Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And Tweedledee and Tweedledum started to tell her a story about the walrus and the carpenter. Now, me personally, I'm not going to miss the science that the carpenter has been brought into the picture. Because remember, Christ is a carpenter. Now, the walrus also, as you can see here, another smoker. So there's a lot of smoking for sure taking place in this movie here. It's already highlighted from the time she's coming down the rabbit hole. And even before we came to the rabbit hole, we already explained for sure the science of going into the different dimensions were already understood by the individual that put this book together. I'm talking of Freemasonry. Now watch this now. If you notice, the walrus is going under the water smoking. Now I'm not talking about how impossible it is to have a cigar underwater. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the science of smoking and the water. Because keep in mind, Keep in mind, everything here is water. She began to cry. And her tears became a sea. And when she met Mr. Dodo, he was smoking and he also was on the sea. Very important. Now that she came across Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and they're telling her of the walrus. And Mr. Walrus himself, another smoker, and as we see here, we are following him going under the water. Now, as he speaks to the oysters, I want to highlight this here. This is very important. Look at the calendar on the wall. The month is March. Now, for some reason, the makers of the movie found it important to highlight the letter R. The letter R is highlighted in the month of March. Now you may say, no, you ain't saying nothing because I don't even tell you nothing yet. But R is a very important symbol to Bobo Shanti, King Emmanuel Order. Now, you may be saying, oh, come on, priest, you're taking this a little too far. Have you ever watched the review we did on the Black Panther movie? If you didn't see that, I would advise that you go and watch it. We would do it again, but the movie out of style now. But, you should watch it. Bobo Shanti was made clear in that movie. Is not me making it up. I know what I see. And this is just the beginning of the R story here. Now, look at it. It's in the month of March. The month of March. Everyone knows that March is Bobo Shanti month. March, the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of Salvation was started on the 1st of March. The celebration goes to the 21st day of March. The Battle of Adawa is the 1st of March. The spring equinox is the 21st of March. And within the month, we celebrate the Women's Freedom Liberation League, and in some concepts, Empress Menen Earth Day, and some call March the Women's Month. So the March thing is very, very close to the heart of us known as Bobo Shanti. And for whatever reason, the R in this movie is highlighted. Watch it. Look how they highlight the R. Bam. For whatever reason, the R is highlighted. All right. So the what's his name, and the carpenter, the walrus, and the carpenter also represents Christ. Remember, we in Wonderland here. All right, now follow this good. After speaking to Mr. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, oh man, I'm sorry that they can't hear this here, but she now comes to the house of the rabbit. Now the rabbit is inside. This house is obviously a mushroom, another psychedelic plant, well, fungus or fungi. Now the rabbit, this is where the rabbit lives. Look at the screen here. It's two, you see two Alice, look good. You see it? Yeah. I'm sure that the audience see it. Look at two Alice here, one standing up here and one walking. This is some deep stuff. So inside of the house now, the mushroom house, this is the rabbit's house. And the rabbit now is saying, Mary Ann. He's calling somebody named Mary Ann. Mary Ann. Where's that girl? Hear him. So he's calling Mary Ann. Mary Ann. Now look at this, look at this. Now he's referring to Alice as Mary Ann. What's wrong with this rabbit? He crazy, man. Who is Mary Ann, by the way? How is it that he's mixing up Alice with Mary Ann? And he's telling Alice, Mary Ann, to go and get his gloves. What you doing out here? Go and get my gloves. I'm late. My glove. So Mary Ann, look at this wall here. Look at all these people on the wall. These are his family, you know. Rabbit multiplies. So anyway, Mary Ann goes into the house, and
Oh, that's a wonderful idea, Princess. Yeah, put on the caption. Yes, good. Now she ate something and she's getting bigger again. So what this is saying here, let me explain this now. This is very important. Okay, good. Now, listen to me, family. What this represents, and now you see it becomes night. I want you to listen to me good. Within all the fun and frolic of the cartoon movie, Alice is symbolizing the Christ figure. Pinocchio, Christ figure. Red Riding Hood, Christ figure. Remember when we decoded the movie Hoodwink and we show you Red Riding Hood, Christ figure, the Big Bad Wolf, Christ figure. Who else in that movie was the Christ figure? Even the goat was the Christ figure. Grandma was a Christ figure. And even the lumberjack was a Christ figure. And it had to do with the cycle of the sun. I'm sure you could recall that. It's the same thing that is taking place here now. Alice represents the tree of life. That's why I had to go into all that stuff with Osiris and everything, even though we didn't go too deep. In fact, we just ran through that quickly, hoping that you would have retained the previous lectures that we would have done. So Alice in this setting here represents the Christ figure. She represents the tree of life. Because remember, the tree of life, although it's a tree, is more than a tree. It represents a human being, the savior, you know, the sustainer, the he or she that comes to show you the way. That's the idea of it. You don't have to turn it into religion. Just let us stick on this level. So now what she has done here, she has embodied the mushroom. She has embodied the mushroom. After this, she's going to embody the tree. Follow me good. He referred to her as Mary Ann. Marijuana is Mary J. Again, going back to other lectures that we've done. Mary, the Mariam, that has to go through the water, is the marijuana, as they would say, the prostitute from Mexico. But you understand the science because we broke that whole prostitute thing down too. It's deep. So now she has grown into the mushroom. You had to put it in a cartoon form, so please excuse my language, so the kids could laugh and you know. But there's a real message being expressed here, and it has become night too when she came big. You know, and you know, this may sound a bit vulgar, but please do not take it vulgar. And that's where the word vulgar comes from, the vulva. If you notice, the artistry has provided a little hole right here, which would represent exactly where the opening of the vaginal canal would be. Just reality. Don't tell me the artist didn't realize that. And I don't think it's just, you know, to be vulgar, but it has a deeper meaning within it, you know, the life-giving source of the mother. Remember, we began by showing you Ainana, you know, Ainana, and going into the underworld, you know, to redeem herself and all of that kind of stuff. This is what's taking place here, or this is what's being expressed here. Even the birdhouse is a mushroom. Now he's going for help, and he's going to get the dodo. The dodo bird is going to come and help. And when she says, here, he's going to say dodo. And when he says dodo, she says dodo. Is this caption reading right? Sometimes these captions are. But anyway, I can't read the caption and talk. It's okay. So here comes the dodo again. Smoking. Again. You know, look at these leaves here. Interesting looking leaves, eh? These leaves over here on the side, on the bushes. Interesting looking leaves. Yeah. So obviously, when he sees the monster, and look how he does his eyebrows. And she opens, and you may be saying, what you saying there? You mean what I'm saying? Remember who the dodo is, eh? Remember the dodo is Mr. Charles Carroll. And remember Alice is Alice. So when you understand who the dodo is and who Alice is, when you watch Alice in Wonderland and you observe how the dodo deals with Alice, you have to pay attention. As I said, every time his name is called, yes, Dodo, she always says, Dodo. Every time. She says it at the beginning. She said it there when she was in the house as the mushroom. And when he realized that, hey, well, when he sees what he sees, maybe the artist would have to explain why is it his eyebrows went up 3 times when he saw that large monster there in the form of Alice in the mushroom house. And there she is gleaming through the window. I mean, I can't answer everything. I don't know what's behind the mind of these sick people. So, what you like, Charlie well is. Do something, Dodo. Yes. You have to be careful. But anyway, let's move on. So what is going to happen now? You know, the lizard is going to come and all of that. She's going to sneeze a lizard out the chimney. Watch this. Yes, the lizard gone out the chimney. And so they're going to come to the conclusion now that they will have to smoke her out. They're going to smoke the monster out. You hear what they're going to do? Huh? We're going to smoke the monster out. Somebody said they like to hear me sing it. Smoke the monster out. Anyway, all right. Hey, what time we have there, by the way? Wow. 8:29. Okay. All right. Let me see here. So, what is happening here now? Oh, what's going on here? All right. Now, follow me good. So, see, he's smoking her out. Yeah, we'll smoke the monster out. So see what they're going to do? They're going to smoke it out. So anyway, she became small again. And she left Mr. Dodo there trying to burn down the house by himself. So he was left to do the smoking on his own. This is some serious stuff, eh? And she went still running down Puka. Puka sounds very close to hookah, eh? Right. Puka is the white rabbit. Masonry, down the hole, to carry it to another world. All right. So she's small again now. And she's trying to find the white rabbit. So she comes across a garden of flowers. And the flowers, you have all type of flowers there. You have daffodils, dandelions, bellflowers, roses, all kind of things here. And they gave her a nice song. This song, okay, this one is nice. Listen to this. She says in the song, listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this, eh? Now, you may not hear it, but she says, you can learn a lot of things from the flowers, especially in the month of June. That's harvest time. So you can learn a lot of things from the flowers. Now, what is interesting here is that after singing her this nice song, the flowers, now, what is interesting here is that after singing her this nice song, they kind of got a little upset with her. They were trying to find out, now, who are you? You know, where are you from? Listen to this. Do you suppose she's a wildflower? Oh, no, I'm not a wildflower. Shall we say, genus are you? What genus are you, my dear? And she said something about she's from the genus human, something or the other. Did you notice her petals? Look at those stems. Rather scrawny, I see. Now hear this, she's nothing but a overlay vulgaris. What is that?
Listen to this. Listen to what she says. To put it bluntly. Bluntly, she said it. Blunt. She said it. To put it bluntly, you are a weed. Weed in a man. So Alice is a mushroom. Alice is weed. To put it bluntly. And that is very, very clear. She just said it. You could learn a lot of things from the flowers. This is a flower show. She said it at the beginning. Was it at the beginning? Well, I read it at the beginning in another song where she said in her world, you know, she would sit and talk to the flowers would talk to her for hours. And these flowers have special powers. How do you get to Wonderland? You gotta go behind the tree. She's a weed. Marianne, come on, it's clear. It's clear. Anyway, so after coming out of the flower patch now, she says she's not a weed, and she upset. And watch this. She gets pushed away with a gush of water again. So the weed and the water, and she's on a leaf. Because Chalice we're dealing with it. And after that experience now, she's gonna be the granddaddy. Watch this. When last have you watched this movie? You should have watched it before we gathered here tonight. Trust me. So she meets now the caterpillar sitting on the mushroom. A-E-I-O-U. And she's definitely taken in. Wow. And she's leaning on the mushroom. And then he's going to obviously notice that she's there. Who? Now you see the R coming to the play again. Now, well, no, it's more than that. So now he's asking her, who are you? This is what the ancient Babylonian theology of Ainana says, that when she went into the underworld, she had to declare who she was. She had to declare herself. And this is the same thing with Alice here. She's been asked now by the top smoker. Now, if you notice, when the walrus was smoking his little roach, he went underwater smoking it. Man, these people know the theology, man. A lot of ones used to say that a lot of things that I talk is I make it up, you know. Because I've been speaking this kind of stuff for years, but with time, I continually bring it from different angles. So now over the years, when you really look back on everything we have been saying and you put it together from different angles, you yourself have to say, well, boy, please, straight up. Yeah, you know what you're saying. Because we've been sent to unravel these things. All what we're talking about here tonight, this ain't no second story or we getting it from somebody else. We sit and watch it good. Yes, there are things we're putting to you that maybe others have seen and you can see. But to break it down to another level, our King Emmanuel order, and I'm going to prove that right now. So Big Man is asking her now, who are you? Declare yourself, and she don't know. She hardly know. Watch this. I do not see. Now you smoke the smoking now. She burning the chalice. That's why you have the spiral in the leaves. See the leaves have the spiral? This is the symbol. Which leaf? Leaf have spiral? Give me a leaf. Leaf have the ribs, the mid rib and the stuff, the veins. Watch them spirals there in these leaves. Because the spiral represents the spiral of the smoke. You know, naturally the spiral represents the spiral of the smoke. So when you observe that now, she says she's not herself. You, who? Watch the R. Now, if you notice, the R broke up into many R's. So that's highlighting the R. Who are I? Watch those R's. Who are you? Now she's coughing. Now she's coughing. Man, she take a draw, man. She take a draw. 1951, eh? Enough smoking in this movie here. Take it easy. Ooh, see? She's smoking. She's partaking. If you notice, she's on her mushroom and he's on his mushroom. So that's the symbol. And the leaves have the spiral. So this is just showing you now she's at the initiation spot. She's declaring herself. Who are you? Remember, she done go down the rabbit hole, you know. Don't lose it. She done go down the rabbit hole. To find herself, find salvation. Chalice, man, in Wonderland. Even coming down the hall, they don't show you the chalice. Everyone she buck up on just burning away. And the science of the water from her own tears was clear. Everything so confusing. Now watch this. Now he's going to tell a story about the crocodile. I don't want to hear all of that. I want to show you this. More smoking. See? Watch it, watch it, watch it. Watch this drop. Watch this drop. Watch this drop she take. That's a drop she take from the chalice. So you just lick off the top it. All right. Now, as I said here, come on, movie, don't try to play with me. Okay. That's showing so like that on your thing?
It was taking a bit of ice.
All right, I don't know what's going on here. Don't try to do me that. All right, hold on. All right, sorry about that, people. Don't feel on. All right, now, what is going to happen here? As you know, he becomes a caterpillar, turning into a butterfly. And after turning into the butterfly, he told Alice to eat the mushroom, the both sides. Now remember, mushroom is like a circle, eh? So just to figure out which is one side and which is the other side, and one will make her get big and one will make her get small. Now, when she gets big, eh? Remember she got big before, and what did she become? She was in the mushroom house, a psychedelic plant or a fungi. Now she becomes a tree. Now she becomes a tree. And there's a bird on top of her head. Now, I know you cannot hear, but the bird just referred to her as a serpent. Now the bird is crying. Serpent. But I'm not a serpent. Now, if you notice, she has to be declaring that she is not this and she is not that. She had to tell him that she is not a weed. But she's a weed. Now she's telling the bird that she's not a serpent. Now, if you can recall that in our vibration, we have highlighted the feathered snake as it relates again to the whole Christ figure. This is the feathered snake here in the Mass of Lord Pakal. We can't break down all of that right now, but I'm sure, I am almost 100% positive that everyone that is listening tonight has some idea of the science of the feathered snake as told, by ourselves. But just to run through it quickly, the science of the feathered snake is the science of the sun. And of course, the sun is the symbol of God, really, the symbol of God. So when you understand the rotation of the sun, the electromagnetic field line of the equator, which rotates once every 26 days, and the electromagnetic field line of the poles, which rotates once every 37 days. Because of that specific difference in rotation, every 87.5 days, they continually collide with each other. I mean, the field line, the electromagnetic field line of the sun just continue to smash into each other. So they become so encoiled and entangled that they burst from underneath the surface of the sun, creating what is known as a sunspots. Now, the sunspots now, they can be measured. Pardon me. You see them on a computer graph in a formation that is similar to how we used to carve out the feathered snakes in ancient time. In fact, they have carvings of feathered snakes that have shown themselves to be perfectly aligned with electromagnetic, the 11-year sunspot cycle seen on a computer graph at specific times. Now that's amazing. Eh? I don't know if you pick up what I just said. When you look at the 11-year sunspot cycle on a computer graph, you know, just like how this snake with the feathers look, it's the same thing. The snake with feathers that have been seen on glyphs, different parts of the world, that when you align them with specific graphs of the 11-year sunspot cycle, they're perfect even down to the feathers. That is just to show you the heights of meditation that we were carrying thousands of years ago. So my point is that we had the understanding, that's my point, we had the understanding or the comprehension, the understanding that the science of the sun was related to the snake with wings. So this is why throughout mythology, science, history, you always see this concept with the bird and the snake. We highlight Tutankhamun with the bird and the snake on his mitre or on his crown. We highlight the Christ saying that just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so shall I, the Christ, be lifted up. We highlight the medical symbol when you see the two snakes wrapped together and the wings flapping out. That symbolizes the feathered snake or the snake with wings. So the snake with wings, Quetzalcoatl, the ancient Mayan tradition, it's nothing funny or spooky. It's reality and can be seen in science. And that is one of the things we highlighted when we decoded the movie Hoodwink. Remember in the beginning of Hoodwink, the police was telling the badger, as the police was telling the reporters, hey, you with the feathers, get behind the snake. You remember that? You with the feathers, get behind the snake. And the very first time I saw that movie, that was the line that hooked me. It's right at the beginning. And I said, hey, I remember where I was when I saw that movie. I wasn't even in my house. I was in St. Lucia by a brethren. And he wasn't there. And I went by him to look at something, a specific program that I did there in St. Lucia, and it would air on Sundays. So after the program was over, they brought on that movie, and I was just about to get up, and when I heard that, you with the feathers, get behind the snake, I said, what? And I sat down and I watched that movie, and I just saw it all. I said, wow, this is some serious stuff. So these little cartoons, they're filled with the high science. The feathered snake. So, wow. So these little cartoons, they're filled with the high science. The feathered snake. So I am telling you that Alice represents a God figure in this cartoon. So the bird represents the feather, and she, as the bird, is referring to Alice as a serpent. That's the feathered snake right there. And Alice is big again, and she's now a tree. She's represented now as the tree of life in her full form, in the same way that she was the mushroom, because she represents the plant. She represents the psychedelic material that will carry you through that rabbit hole, that will carry you through the different dimensions. That's why everybody is smoking. Serpent, Marianne, that's what the rabbit called her, the same rabbit she's trying to run down. He referred to her as Marianne. What time are we?
8:46.
8:46. So this smile here comes from
the Cheshire Cat. He's not seen smoking anything, but he's definitely on something. He definitely stands out as one of the outstanding figures in this movie here. Can you stand on your head? Okay. Now, obviously, he would have really had Mrs. Alice or Miss Alice going around in circles. Our time is coming to a conclusion. I'm just taking a deep breath as I'm meditating how to run through all of this. Now, the Cheshire Cat is seen on the St. Wilfrid Cathedral. This is in Cheshire also. And St. Wilfrid Cathedral. This is in Cheshire also. And you can see statues of this cat here. Look at here. On the church building. So this grinning cat ain't no makeup thing, eh? This is a real philosophy.
Introducing Ethiopia's Freedom Tours. What is an Ethiopian Freedom Tour? We are giving you the opportunity to visit us in Ethiopia on your terms. You pick the date, summer, spring, October, or December. It's your choice. 3 days, 5 days, 7 or 9 days. It's your choice. Several options to choose from. Tour Addis Ababa, Tour Shashamane, Hawassa and Wando Genet, Lalibela and Aksum, or a combination of them all. It's all up to you. Need more information? Check our Freedom Tour booklet. Press the link in the description or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Ethiopia Freedom Tours. When will you be coming?
Subscribe to the Mystic Vibrations Shock of the Hour program today and never miss another episode. The Shock of the Hour is a Radio Anu exclusive program produced every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By now, I am sure that you are aware that all our programs are packed with information, inspiration, mystic vibrations, as well as hot button topics. Every evening we enter into a different dimension, even if it is a part 2 of the previous program, whether it's history or mystery, biology or philosophy, domestic affairs or the locks of your hair. The mystic vibration is sure to bring something new and interesting to the table every evening. So never miss another episode again. Subscribe to the Shock of the Hour now. And don't forget your key Swahili word of the day and your daily scientific fact. So, to subscribe, give us an email, priestisaac27@gmail.com, or call or WhatsApp us today. Area code 1268-728-3162. The Shock of the Hour. Never miss another program. And a special note to all our new subscribers. All our new subscribers will receive a special copy of the DVD documentary, full length, The Night of the Black Tiger, The Divinity of Marcus Messiah. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Of course, the shock of the hour is in the midst right now. The Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. We definitely give thanks for your presence wherever you may be in this international community. We're thankful for touching base. You know you've stepped into the nest, the tiger's nest, and each and every time you step into the nest, you don't know the information is going to get good, better, best. All right, and this evening is not going to be any exception. We always come in with something fresh and some different level of understanding and comprehension here. As you would know, from time to time, we like to look at different aspects of what is taking place in the entertainment world. That is how we even came out with that whole, fairy tale, folly days, and nursery crimes, which is really a trilogy, which will be coming very soon. The execution, don't worry, the execution is coming soon. But tonight, what we want to look at is the whole aspect of the connection of Haile Selassie, Ethiopia, and the emperorship with that of Sanford and Son. Now, of course, I think everyone would know for sure that when it comes to the comedy world, Sanford and Son is like tops, like the tops. I don't know what else. No Jeffersons, no Good Times, or as I like to call it, Bad Times, and none of them stuff can compare to Sanford and Son, Fred Sanford and Lamont Sanford, of which I believe also Damon Wilson, who plays Lamont. When you really observe the whole scheme of Sanford and Son, I find him to be a very fine actor, to be very honest. At least in that time, that's a long time ago. And there's a mystic expression here. You got to understand and comprehend, first of all, Hollywood, man, and the media, and entertainment, and the hidden message, and the hidden agenda that is, hidden within these sitcoms. Of course, the movies. All of this, from this time, whether it's Carol Burnett and Friends, whether it's Laverne and Shirley, I'm gone all over now. Whether it's Three's a Company or whatever they used to call that, whether it's the Beverly Hillbillies, let's come back on our track now. Whether it's Sanford and Son, whether it's the Jeffersons, whether it's Good Times, you gotta watch it good. Good Times, it's obvious what Good Times is all about. Hard life, man. Ghetto life. Projects life. You know, projects. You live in the projects. You know, that kind of terminology. What you projecting there? What's the project? We're a project? It's like they have a project and you live in the projects. I'm telling you. Oatmeal for breakfast every day. That's Good Times, man. Can hardly, have enough of this and always don't have enough of that and always this and something here and rent overdue and eviction and all of that. Good times, man. Hard life in Chicago. Good times. Now, I'm not saying there's not a taste of reality in it. Of course there is. I like me some Good Times myself. What are you talking about? Tops as a program too, Don't get me wrong, and especially if James is in it. Not JJ, but the James, man, the father. Oh, yeah, man, that's tops. But then as the Jefferson says, now we're moving on up. That's why even Louise is like a rich Florida Evans. We're moving on up to a deluxe apartment in the sky. So it's a different level now. Looking over, where's the Jeffersons now? We're in New York City. You see what I'm saying? Different now, stepping up as black people. And we have a neighbor, she step up too, but she gotta marry a white man to step up. Don't play around, man. That's the image, man. Even when you go behind the scenes and you get the reality of it. The individual that plays Tom Willis in an interview, he said, man, at that time, man, they would get a lot of death threats, letters coming in from different angles, because basically the Jeffersons was the program that brought
life or an acceptance to the interracial marriage on the scene. So you gotta understand the time. Don't just take these programs for granted and sit and laugh. Ha ha ha. You gotta understand the time. The Jeffersons. And it was cold-hearted how they killed James Evans, in that good times, to make the whole situation worse. And then you have the Cosbys. Poor Bill. I wonder how he's making out in jail. Then you have the Cosbys. The Cosby Show. Now we really step up. We ain't in no apartment. We have our own house. Oh yeah, and we can send every child is going to college with ease. With ease. No complaints about that. We don't even talk about that too much. We just talk about grades. We ain't looking for no B- in here. And everybody is good. Everybody can afford a perm. Oh yeah, check it. Florida Evans didn't have no perm in them. Everybody can afford a perm. And when you reach 18, you get your driver's license and you get your car. And again, college and university, it's in the bag because daddy's the doctor and mommy's the lawyer. I'm talking about the Cosby Show. It's a show. It's a show. Then we step into the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's a show. You know, and some other things in between, from Andy Griffith to all the rest, Leave It to Beaver. Everything has its message and its meaning. So don't just look at the black sitcom. Yeah, they were designed for the black people, but everything else have its place to play. Even Mr. Ed. They're talking, you understand. So Sanford and Son now had this level thereof, because even in the Jeffersons, George Jefferson, the man that plays George Jefferson, he said he never really liked the jokes that he was given, you know, as it relates to the Willises, you know, the zebra jokes, the white husband and the black wife. He said he didn't like it. He said after a while he was going to the producers and telling them, man, it's about time that we change this up. But people liked it. So now in this episode of Sanford and Son, Sanford and Son is interesting. By far the best. By far. There's nothing you can call. Nothing you can call that can align itself with Sanford and Son. Benson, none of them. But now Sanford and Son. Fred Sanford, obviously, as simple as it may seem to you, as a junk man and with his son, we're talking about independent black people. Independent. That's something you gotta look at. Fred Sanford and Lamont Sanford are independent. Yeah, they may need to step up the business a bit, I don't know, but they're surely independent. Very key. Now, in this episode, this is the episode where Sanford realizes or supposedly comes to this conclusion that he's an Ethiopian Jew, an Ethiopian king. Now, a few people has picked up on this, but how much have we really picked up? The time frame, this is the 1970s. This is the time of Haile Selassie I and the Derg taking over Ethiopia. The same exact time. And here we have an episode of Sanford and Son. I mean, without a doubt, the top program in the US, which means internationally at that time. And they're highlighting the Ethiopian king and the Ethiopian Jews. It's not just the Ethiopian Jews, you know, but the Ethiopian king, Sanford and Son. Now, this is something for you to check out. When you watch every episode of Sanford and Son, remember Sanford and Son has many articles in the house, enough little junk here, there, and everywhere, inside of the house. On one of the shelves, just, well, I can't say to the east, but the wall that is aligned with the kitchen door. On the shelf, you see a bust, a small bust of Queen Nefertiti, right there in Sanford and Son's house. Queen Nefertiti. It's always there, not a specific episode. Every episode it's there, but you just gotta look for it. Then there's this picture on the wall, the famous picture of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, kneeling and praying. But for whatever reason, the wall itself is built in a way. You gotta check it for yourself. This is just by the kitchen door. The wall itself is built in a way that it has like a semi-corner. And the picture of Jesus, it puts Jesus right in the corner, man, as if he's facing the corner, praying. At times the shadow is overshadowing the picture. I don't know, but the designer had to have something in mind. Then above the archway before you go up the stairs, you see this what somewhat look damaged statue of what appears to be Anubis looking straight at you with the Kemetic foil that the Egyptian kings would wear. All of this can be seen in the house of Sanford and Son. You even have an Ethiopian artwork on the wall by the window when you're going out of the front door. A tall Ethiopian, as if they carried a water pitcher or something. And this is not in this episode, you know. This is all the time. All the time. So if you miss it tonight, you can try and see if you see it tomorrow. So, so obviously I don't know what the vibes is, but there's some energy there being emitted from Sanford and Son. And there was strong skepticism about Caucasians in Sanford and Son. Papa, I got this for $20. And this old lady, she da-da-da-da. White woman. Old white woman, yeah. Ugly white woman, yeah. Old ugly white, yeah, you get a lot of that. Old ugly white, you get a lot of that old ugly white woman talking in Sanford and Son. You understand? And when a white person appears and the difference of how Fred would react to the white person and all of that, and you know, although from time to time that doesn't really matter as the program, I guess, evolves into its latter stages, but that was definitely strong, especially in its inception. All right, let us follow this episode here. Of course, this is radio, so you gotta listen along. Give thanks and praise to Rastafari. Where are we?
It'd have been more than a junk man. But I got a lot more than my father had and his father before him.
You remember your grandfather?
Oh, he passed on before I was born.
My grandfather was a slave.
I don't know what none of my folks were. One of them might have been a slave, or emperor, or king.
No,
You ought to do it.
What we have here, we have Bubba Bexley and Fred Sanford in the kitchen sharing a cup of coffee and well, not a cup, drinking some coffee, sharing a cup, and you know, speaking concerning their heritage. As you heard, Fred Sanford clearly said, I don't know what my ancestors were. One of them could have been, an emperor. So we see the word emperor comes into the conversation. Could have been an emperor. You gotta understand the time frame here. You could get to understand the time frame. I've seen a few people use the Sanford and Son episode and say, yeah man, Fred Sanford realized that he's a Hebrew or he's a Jew. And leave it at that. But no, this is more than Hebrew and Jew. There's a dash of Ethiopian in it, plus emperor. Don't run away, leave the rest of the story. So how the emperor now comes into the scene. That's a very key part of this, you know. The emperor, 1970 plus 75, this is 1975, in fact. The same year the emperor disappeared. Let me play with me. Come on. An emperor?
That man did who wrote Roots. He traced his family back in order to find out who he was. Who knows? Maybe someone in your family was a king.
Huh.
Or a tribal chief anyway.
That That's right. And if my great-great-great-grandfather was chief, it would make me the great-great-great-grandson of a chief.
That's right.
That would be great. Great, because the great-great-grandson of a chief is still a chief.
Of what?
That tribe.
That tribe probably wasn't in Africa.
They need me, Bubba. They need their chief.
Look, man, why don't you check and find out for sure who you are?
Well, I can't do that, Bubba. See, I saw that guy Haley who wrote Roots on the Tonight Show. See, he researched 9 years to find out where it came from. See, at my age, that's a lifetime.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But you don't have to do it the way he did it. You know, there's an ad in the paper every day about a company who will do it for you.
You're kidding. Where?
Here in the paper. Hold on a minute. Now look, see? Look, let us trace your background and we will send you your family crest and coat of arms.
My family crest and coat of arms? Bubba, you've done it. How much?
Fill out the application form and mail it in with $25.
$25 for a lousy coat of arms? I can get a whole suit with 2 pair of pants and a vest and umbrella with that kind of money.
Well, it's up to you.
$25 off.
That's right.
$25 to find out if I'm descended from royalty.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would sure show Lamont who's an emperor and who's a helper. How long did it take to find out?
4 weeks.
4 weeks?
Yeah, that includes all the research and the time it takes to send this into Burbank.
Burbank?
Yeah, Research City. That's the home base of this big company.
All right, now what else have I got to do?
So there's a few questions to get them started, like how far back can you trace your family?
Well, I think my mother once mentioned we came from North Africa, up near Ethiopia somewhere.
Well, that's good.
No, listen to that. You gotta understand the time frame again. No, my mother mentioned we came from maybe Northeast Africa, somewhere in Ethiopia there. So, I mean, this is like a puzzle being put together. So here we have, again, emperor, chief, African king, Northeast Africa, from Ethiopia somewhere there. You understand? Now, we're not really into the biblical thing yet. We're just skimming, let's just say, going around the whole aspect of the African tradition. All right. Now, remember, as I said, there's always a mystic, highlight when it refers to the whole Sanford and Son in general. All right, skipping a few minutes here. Let's get into this.
What is it? This box could contain positive proof I'm a king and you're a prince.
What are you talking about, Fred Sanford?
Be patient. Incoming junk should be seen and not heard. I'll let you know shortly.
Hey, come on, Bob. What is it?
Wait a minute. Look at it. Have you eyes but see not? Which would come in handy if you're looking at Esther. See, this is our family crest, son, right here. And look at that crown. I am a king. There it is right there. I've been right all along. See, that's the crown, and right there, that's Ethiopia. That's where my family came from. And right here, see, that's black and white hand intermingled. Whatever that means. And here's a shield showing that we were great warriors.
With a Jewish star on it.
Yeah. I wonder what that means.
That means, Fred Sanford, if I know my Bible, and I know my Bible, you are a descendant of a king of the Jews. And if you're a king, you're also Jewish.
Jewish?
Gee, that's funny. You don't look it.
Now, let's just keep this on the serious level. So, okay. So now, in this aspect of the episode, so Fred Sanford receives the plaque, for those who have seen the episode, and the plaque is divided basically into four. There are 4 pictures on the plaque. You have the crown, you have the picture of Ethiopia,
Then you have a shield, of which the plaque really represents a shield, really. And the shield has on the Jewish star, what is realized or accepted in this modern time as the Jewish star, the six-pointed star. And then you have a picture of a white and a black hand shaking one another, really. And if you notice what Fred Sanford said, he said, whatever that means, and that's basically the same sort of energy I was telling you of earlier, that you get from Sanford and Son when it comes to these different things, you know. No integration, none of them things. But anyway, so we're putting the puzzle together here now. So before, you know, in the earlier part of the episode, it was really a conversation about this emperorship. That's how it began, if you ever check this episode out. It began with Sanford clearly saying that he was an emperor. He was the king of his empire. And that is the theme going through. Even as, you know, you're going through it, you could still see the Nefertiti on the shelf on the wall, you know, man. So I'm just saying now, after that now, his friend comes and shows him that, hey, you can do this research and you will get a plaque, and the plaque will tell you exactly who you are. Do you know where you're from? My mother told me that we are from Ethiopia, North Africa. Interesting, Northeast Africa, Ethiopia. At this time, 1975, while they're filming this, I mean, turmoil is going on in Ethiopia. In 1974, the monarchy was deposed according to the historical narrative. In 1975, in August, Haile Selassie disappeared, the emperor of Ethiopia, the final emperor of Ethiopia, the last emperor. We're talking about 3,000 years of emperorship, and the last emperor was Haile Selassie, no more after him, and he disappeared. In 1975, the king of the Jews, of the lineage of David and great King Solomon, the king of the Jews, of the same lineage of Israel, of Judah, the lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, that the Rasta man telling you is being fulfilled in prophecy. I mean, the king that ruled, the emperor that ruled longer than any other emperor in them times, and even going back in times. And just a few nights ago, we did programs showing you how the world understood the presence of Haile Selassie I, and how they understood that even one BBC reporter was clearly showing you there's no other leader alive that has passed through the challenges that the emperor has passed through, and then there's no leader that has passed through the kind of challenges he has passed through, that can still walk with their head high, as the man said, to have overcome them in this time is a feat unmatched by any leader, even in this time. That was Haile Selassie I. And you mean to tell me the same year that he disappeared now, when the media hot with him, on the number one television show in the world, in the whole world. This ain't no underground series. The number one television show in the world, Sanford and Son. Not 10 years after, during the same time, in the same year, the same time the energy hot, the number one show is portraying that Fred Sanford, the chief character, is an emperor. And his mother said that he's from Ethiopia. And now he get the shield that shows that, yes, there's a crown. So I guess he was right, he's an emperor. And there's a picture of Ethiopia on the shield, so I guess he's right, he was the king of Ethiopia. Plus, well, before the plus, there's a black and white hand holding hands. According to him, he don't know what that means, so let's skip over that for the moment. And then there's a shield with the 6-point star, which means he's Jewish, he's a Hebrew. And then there's this level of misunderstanding that enters. Well, Esther now
is sure, because she is a Christian, she has her Bible in her hand. Her Bible is in her hand, as always. And so she knows about all of that. She ain't giving you no Queen of Sheba story, but she's telling you she knows what the Jewish star means. It means you're a king, but we done see the crown. You know, you don't have to be a king to be Jewish. We done see the crown. But Jewish now, Lamont now is confused, like, wow, you don't look it. I mean, you don't look Jewish at all. You know, then the Falashas enter the discussion in this episode. You know, not the Galatians, I think Sanford called them the Galatians somewhere down the line. But the Falashas, we have done program on the so-called Falashas, the Better Israel, you know, the people of Africa that claim descendants to the Solomonic lineage and the Davidic lineage and the lineage of Israel in general. Of course, you know, as a level of confusion all by itself. But the point is there is a connection being made here. Do not overlook, we're talking about the top program on air. Bringing together the understanding in a very subtle way of Ethiopia and the Hebrew tradition being one under a crown of an emperor. And even the black and white hand and everything, if you understand the legacy of the emperor himself, the man of peace, the true man of peace. Even as one of the BBC documentaries was saying, he was first, coming out of this slavery period, you know, he was the first to be treated by white man as an equal. Now, there's another episode that I want to link with this, directly dealing with, this one is entitled Lamont Goes Africa, and I'm sure you know that one, of course, where Lamont starts to, you know, utilize a lot of key Swahili words, and you don't want to eat no more sausages and pigs, and everything was changing. He brought a lady from Nigeria, a sister from Nigeria, even Rallo himself. He himself changed his name. I can't remember what his name was, Oladiye or something. And Lamont became Kolunda, and these different things, you know. So this was the one entitled Lamont Goes African. Now, I'm just going to take a tidbit. Of course, again, this is radio, this is not television, so it's not as if I can show you what's going on, but I'm sure you've seen these episodes and you can do your own research, because this is research. And we're going to couple that with what we just covered a moment ago. Now, Lamont is wearing a dashiki, a beautiful dashiki, and his father is going to encounter him. And I'm telling you, while they're speaking, you could see the Anubis right above his head. You see the Anubis, Prince? Mm-hmm. That's the Anubis there. And when Fred is speaking, they're going to show you the Ethiopian artwork. And when Lamont is speaking, you're going to see Nefertiti in the corner. Really, really, really set out artistically and masonically, basically. I want you to listen to this.
Now, before you make any smart remarks, maybe I better explain something to you.
You don't have to explain nothing to me. But I tell you, if you walk down the street and some guy's following you, you better walk fast.
Okay, hold on. So, as I said, I can't show you this, but obviously this is taken from a Sanford and Son episode. And the Ethiopian picture that is always on the wall is now strategically between Fred and Lamont from the angle that this camera is on as Fred is speaking. This is some deep stuff, you know.
I knew you was going to have something smart to say about it.
I mean, what should I say when my son comes along wearing a dress? Next thing you be wearing pantyhose. Like on that commercial. Our legs fit your legs. They hug you, they hold you. They never let you go.
This is not a dress. This is a
He's going to say dashiki. Now, if you're watching it, you could see the bust of Nefertiti, clear as crystal. It's just there. Just Nefertiti is actually looking on Lamont while he's saying what he's saying now. Nefertiti is right there on Sanford and Son on the shelf.
dashiki. A dashiki is a traditional African shirt.
Hold on.
even this look like an Olmec. There's something on the second shelf. You see that? With the black face has an Olmec look. You gotta check out Sanford and Son junk, brother. This is more than junk.
Men. To me, it looked like a traditional dress for a woman.
Well, that's because you've been conditioned to judge everything by Western standards. And I suppose there ain't no use in me trying to enlighten you.
I don't need to be no lighter. That enlightening stuff went out with Concoline hair straighteners. If your hair is short and nappy, Concoline will make it happy.
You don't want to know nothing, so I'm...
Now, before that, a very key statement is going to be made here. Now, Lamont is looking into a mirror, which has a design over the mirror where you see the same 6-point star appear. I mean, you go and watch it. Lamont Goes African. You see the 6-point star right above Lamont's head in the mirror. He's looking at himself in the mirror, and Fred Sanford is going to make a key statement now. This is not the episode when he thought he was a Jewish African Ethiopian king. This is the next one. Lamont is the African now. Lamont Goes African. Now listen to this statement here as Lamont is under the 6-point star in the house. Yeah, house full of junk, no?
I'm not going to try to tell you nothing.
What you said, name of this thing is a duck shaker?
A dashiki.
Well, it looked like a mattress cover to me. How much you pay for it?
Listen.
$13.
$13. You paid $13 for a cotton blouse?
Hey, this is a genuine import. It came all the way from Africa.
I don't care if it came from Haile Selassie's closet. It ain't worth no $13.
No. He don't care if it came from Haile Selassie's closet. So we obviously know who Haile Selassie is then. I mean, from the other episode, you would never even know they knew that Ethiopia really had an emperor who is a king of the Jews and the lineage of David and all of that. But all of a sudden, the closet of Haile Selassie is of such standard. And the number 13 too, because that's the price of the cotton blouse, the duck shaker. Imagine that. You got some laughs, didn't you? The dashiki, $13. Man, I didn't care if it came from Haile Selassie's closet. And Nefertiti on the shelf, and the Ethiopian art back on the wall, and Anpu, Anubis on the arch, and a picture of Jesus in the corner and Jesus facing the corner. You know, I don't know who is the interior designer and what kind of mind frame they have, but Sanford and Son, old rusty junkyard house full of some mystery. I'm telling you. So that episode, coupled even with this episode and the statements made, is not only just highlighting and accepting the presence of Negusa Nagas and his importance of that time, but in a very mysterious way as well, as if, you know, because remember, there's always war in Hollywood, eh? And this was a time when they wanted you to forget the king. But obviously the king is being expressed. Who's this on the wall? Alexander the Great or Caesar, one of them fellas there?
Looks like Caesar.
They look like one of them Caesars there. You understand? So Haile Selassie's closet. And what is key, that Haile Selassie's name was not mentioned in the other episode at all. But now we're dealing with African tradition in general. His name is just mentioned in the midst of all these key statues. But don't get me wrong, you know, as I said, in every episode, you see the Ethiopian artwork, you see the Anpu and the arch, and you see the Nefertiti. But the way the camera was dealing with this discussion a moment ago, how he highlighted each of them, leading up to the 6-point star, and then bam, $13 and Haile Selassie closet. To me, maybe because I'm a fan of Haile Selassie, but to me, there's a mistake within all of that. That's the point that I'm making. So we should take nothing for granted,
And there are a lot of different subliminal messages that are flashed before us on a daily level. It is just us to be wise and to be sharp. And it has been flashed before us for a long time. The time is going to come when we're going to sit down behind some Yogi Bear. We're going to sit down behind some Snorks. We're going to sit down behind some Space Ghosts, some Smurf. Yeah, some Flintstones. Yeah, and show you exactly what the real hidden message and the hidden code really is. And this is why if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will be nothing but a mystery. And this is why it always takes some real eyes for you to realize the real eyes that are amongst us. Give thanks every time. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari.
Said love.
So who is this?
This is King Akhenaten, aka Amenhotep IV. He was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh of the 18th dynasty who ruled for 17 years and disappeared perhaps in 1336 BC or 1334 BC.
Subscribe to the Mystic Vibrations Shock of the Hour program today and never miss another episode. The Shock of the Hour is a Radio Anu exclusive program produced every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By now, I am sure that you are aware that all our programs are packed with information, inspiration, mystic vibrations, as well as hot button topics. Every evening we enter into a different dimension, even if it is a part 2 of the previous program, whether it's history or mystery, biology or philosophy, domestic affairs or the locks of your hair. The mystic vibration is sure to bring something new and interesting to the table every evening. So never miss another episode again. Subscribe to the Shock of the Hour now. And don't forget your key Swahili word of the day and your daily scientific fact. So, to subscribe, give us an email, priestisaac27@gmail.com, or call or WhatsApp us today. Area code 1268-728-3162. The Shock of the Hour. Never miss another program. And a special note to all our new subscribers. All our new subscribers will receive a special copy of the DVD documentary, full length, The Night of the Black Tiger, The Divinity of Marcus Messiah.
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian legends, children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled "What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me?" Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum to Lalibela. Menelik I and Menelik II, Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac, or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
Introducing Ethiopia's Freedom Tours. What is an Ethiopian Freedom Tour? We are giving you the opportunity to visit us in Ethiopia on your terms. You pick the date, summer, spring, October, or December. It's your choice. 3 days, 5 days, 7 or 9 days. It's your choice. Several options to choose from. Tour Addis Ababa, Tour Shashamane, Hawassa and Wando Genet, Lalibela and Aksum, or a combination of them all. It's all up to you. Need more information? Check our Freedom Tour booklet. Press the link in the description or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Ethiopia Freedom Tours. When will you be coming? Attention everyone. The Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge is inviting you to join us in September for the African Union CARICOM Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Sign up for the 3-day package and be a part of the AU CARICOM Summit, plus take in all of the sights of Addis Ababa, the new flower. Or you can opt for our 9-day cultural national tour, and that will engulf sites like Lalibela, Aksum, the Simeon Mountains, and much more. Transportation, accommodation, and your meal all included. So contact us now and reserve your spot. Email us priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com or visit our website priestisaacinstitute.com. Ethiopia. See you there. When you're watching it and you've never heard anything like this, and you reach to this point and you're saying, oh, you're just playing with words with the kids and the goat. Well, I mean, you need to start over before we go any further. Maybe you haven't heard all what I said before. I think you missed what I was saying about the Kabbalah and the science of words and just where it comes from and the science of how they put Batman together. Hey, listen, let's just continue, family, because it's going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So I'm just showing you, we got to be careful. We also mentioned Thomas Chippendale for those who don't remember and those who may not have heard this. This is the individual who is basically deified because of his great works in the Gothic style of building, but not using stone masonry, but using wood. So he has been deified in the cartoon characters Chippendale, and not just by in name, but in nature. As Chippendale, Thomas Chippendale, who was born in Otley in 1810, he is a woodsman, just like Geppetto, Pinocchio's father. I'll say something about him more in the program. And he was a woodsman, just like the Christ in the Bible. That's why the Christ in the Bible is a carpenter. He is a great architect. He and his father, Joseph, but they're not masons. They're carpenter. You check it, woodsman. It's a deep, deep science. Deep science. When a man in Hoodwink call himself the lumberjack man, a woodsman. He wants to be a woodsman. That's in a cartoon movie called Hoodwink, full of codes and hidden messages and all sorts of stuff. So Thomas Chippendale, Thomas means twins. Chip and Dale are twins. Chip and Dale, chipmunks who live in a tree. Woodsman, that's how they remember him. Chippendale. It's not Chip and Dale, Chippendale. And that's exactly what the fella named, Chippendale. You have some Chippendale furniture, you have some top class furniture in your house, filled with the Gothic style of building, but only done in wood. This ain't no joke. You still believe I play with words when I say, don't call your children kids? Yeah, all right. Well, who called these Chippendale? And Thomas means twin, Didymus, just as the Bible calls Thomas the twin of Christ. Well, at least the book of Thomas, though, that they took out of the Bible, I should say. And these fellas here are twins. All right. Good. So the Smurfs now. This is the firing squad edition. What's wrong with the Smurfs? They look like they've seen a ghost.
You must do everything possible to win by
what's going on here?
You must knock anybody who is sparring with you in the boxing ring. This is my last. Thank you very much. standing, shooting. Sisi takuwa hapa. Takuwa hapa. Group yako iko tayari? Let a section.
This is Idi Amin General or Dada General. Idi Amin Dada the General.
Napiga target. Standing.
Aaron's rabbit fire! All the 9 in. Except one.
Excellent. All in the hut.
All right, that was very smurfy. Yeah, don't worry about this. This is just a picture. They done gone long that. All right, family, give thanks again. So, yes, the science here now, of course, is just to take time and to break down a lot of these things. Now, just off the bat, I think everybody can see that the Smurfs are blue.
Like each other.
They look like each other. Good point.
Except for Smurfette.
And Smurfette, according to one brother was telling me, Smurfette was actually made by Papa Smurf. Of course, you know, Papa Smurf himself is a very wise individual, just as wise as Gargamel and them ones days, like a Merlin the magician. That's Papa Smurf, you know. And of course, you have all the different types of Smurfs with different types of attitudes, whether it's brainy, whether it's lazy, whether it's computer, whether it's mathematics. There's so many different attributes. You know, remember, you know, just as I come in there, remember that even in the Quran, Allah is given 99 attributes. It's about 100 and 101 Smurfs. They have 199 Smurf and Smurfette, and they have a little Smurf in the end that come along, and a grandpa Smurf that come out of the blue in the newer series. But the point is, you know, the 99 attributes of Allah. And, you know, the root of all of this, we're going to go deep with it right now.
Yes. And speaking of Smurfette, the movie usually say that she was created by the evil wizard Gargamel, and that she was sent to find Smurf village. And with a little magic in Papa Smurf's hand, he actually changed Smurfette.
Okay. Well, you know, the movies tend to be a bit different than sometimes the original story. But give thanks to that, because to be honest, I myself, you know, that's new knowledge to me. Even when I heard that Papa Smurf created her. So that may be a next version of it. Wonderful. Very good. All right. So we are somewhere there. We can see some kind of God presence here. Don't take the blue thing for no. You know, blue is a very interesting color.
Blue or indigo is the color of God.
Okay, stands out. That I think we see that even in the God Happy. You see the God Happy is blue.
Even the Indian gods, Shiva and Krishna, even Krishna means black or dark blue. This is why they are depicted in the color blue.
Yes, very, very important. The sky and the sea being blue as well is very deep scientifically. And as my Lord just said, the indigo is the color. You have to get that from plants and eventually put that into the form of blue. In artistry, you know, 7 Smurfs make gold. You get 7 Smurfs, you have gold. You like the God-a-man is gold. But just look at the Smurf's hat. You'll notice that the Smurf's hat is the exact hat of the god Mithra. This is the god Mithra and the Mithra over here. This is the Smurf hat. Look at them all here. Mithra fighting the bull. Mithra is also known as Mithra Baga. Mithras Baga. Okay, give thanks. And I somewhat believe that's where the word myth comes from, you know. I would believe, to be honest, just the way it sounds. But I mean, it's obvious, the hat of the Jesuits. It's obvious, family. Look at the hat and look at the hat. I mean, it's just for you to figure out now what's the connection. That's all. Remember where we're coming from, you know, the Kabbalah, the Knights of the Templars, the secret science, you know, Eye on America and the Eye and the 13 in the eagle and everything. So this is a world that is run on some mystic science. This fella, his shoes dirty, man. Whatever this thing they have on this. All right, good. So Mithras Baga is he that would kill the bull, and Mithras is one of those figures that were born on the 25th day of December.
Mithras is also one of those figures that is related to the sun. I think he was born from a virgin and all of these different things. So you see Papa Smurf now, Papa Smurf in red stands out. If you notice, he's red, white, and blue. Very similar to the flag. And what stands out, yes, he's the elder there of the family. And very much so, even more than brainy, he is the brains, he is the wizard. He is the key wizard and he can do all the magic tricks and everything. But there's something, he is the God figure. He is the God figure. There's more behind the Smurf story than meets the eye. So just the whole aspect, for example, of the mushroom. We know the mushroom thing has a lot to do with the God figure again. That is why, you know, the Mario brothers, you see them eat their mushroom and they become strong and start to do all sorts of different things. They get big and go through the different portals. They go through the different portals when they eat their mushroom. That is the Mario brothers, Mario and Luigi. You also see the mushroom presence in a lot of cartoons, even on the shoulder pad of a lot of the princesses like Snow White, etc. So you notice the Smurfs live in the mushroom. They have mushroom houses. This is just symbolic. Psychedelics. You know, they're traveling from zone to zone, you know, portals to portals. It's very deep. You have to take your time to look into it. Why would they be having on or be wearing the hat of Mithras? Again, Mithras Baga, very important. So you see, the individual that slew the bull. Some sick stuff here, man. But what I'm saying now is that there's more to this, eh? You saying? Okay. There is more to this in the depths of it, especially even as it relates to Papa Smurf and the Smurf and Papa Smurf wearing red, eh? And everyone wearing white, red and white. We touched this recently, yes, outside of this lecture, but you know, we just gotta run through it quickly for those who may be hearing this for the first time. The red and white is a science. The same flag, eh? The flag of the Knights was red and white before the blue came in. So the red and white, you know, we showed you that there's a science that has to do a lot with the whole concept of the Spirit of God becoming a human being. Okay, let me show you again. This is Snow White and Rose Red. I would ask the audience, do you know which one is Snow White and which one is Rose Red? Well, they may say, well, this one is in red and this one is in white. I assume this is Snow White over here in white and this is Rose Red. All right, that's good. In fact, hold on there. I got a nice pointer here. We have a nice pointer here. We have a nice pointer here. All right, there we go. Yeah, and if you notice now that when you observe when you look at the Walt Disney's version of Snow White, this is Walt Disney's version of Snow White. Good. It's just a version. It may not look exactly like the olden days, but there are many different pictures of Snow White and Rose Red, you know. But the main thing is that Rose Red is always the one in red and with the black or brunette hair. And Snow White is the one in white with the white hair. That's basically the main thing about them.
And blonde hair.
Or blonde hair, right. But now in the movie Snow White looks like Rose Red. All right, just to cut to the chase, we ain't going to make it too long like if we're doing any investigation. We don't know what is going on here. Really, it's a science Walt Disney's portraying. Yeah. I don't know if they murdered Snow White or something. Eh? Because their story have all kind of sick things behind of it. Because where is she gone? Was she got adopted? Anyway, you know, even in the Bible, it speaks about the fire touching the earth and the water turning red. It's symbolic of the Spirit of God putting on flesh. Red is symbolic of the blood man. Remember, we specifically, just like planet Earth, we're made of the same percentage of water as planet Earth, you know, which is
70% water.
Right. And remember,
30% land mass.
You got to keep in mind that we have the same salinity too as the water, which is seawater. So when the Bible says that the fire hit the seawater and it turned red, it's very symbolic of us. Remember, we're in symbolic world, family. We're dealing with a lot of symbolism here. We use this whole vibes to show you that even in the Bible, when Jacob put on the flesh and came before his father as if he was Esau, it's all symbolism. You know, Adam in the Bible is referred to as the red man. Adam, the red man. If you notice, Esau in the same Bible is also called Edom. Adam. Both of them are red people. Esau in the Bible was considered red. The Bible says he came out red and hairy. Jacob didn't come out red and hairy, you know. And for Jacob to get his blessings from his father, he had to pretend as if he was Esau. When Esau went running looking for food, Jacob put on some skin. He put skin on him, the skin of some dead goats, and went to his father Isaac and got the blessing because Isaac thought he was Esau. He felt like Esau, you know, smelled like Esau, but he sounded like Jacob because Jacob is symbolic. Forget about the human beings. Jacob is symbolic of the Spirit of God. And Esau is symbolic of the human flesh. So when Jacob put on the goat skin, which represents the human beastly flesh, and came to get his blessings, God or Isaac could say, I hear Jacob because he hear God coming out of a human being. That's really what it is outside of the story. Nice story, but that's the symbol behind the story. All of this is what Walt Disney's and these other ones, they craft these stuff into their movies. So this is why now you would see Snow White and still not see Snow White. That is saying Snow White, but this is Rose Red, the red one, the blood one. Adam, they say Adam, when he fell out of the garden, he put on skin. The Bible says he put on skin. Yes, you may say, no, it means he killed some animal and make some clothes. Yeah, according to the story, but it's symbolic. When you become a human being, you put on skin. When you leave the spiritual realms, you put on skin. You become red, you know, from Snow White to Rose Red. That's why Snow White is no longer around and you're looking at Rose Red just like you're looking, let's say, at Esau and calling him Jacob, because Jacob is who is inside. Snow White is who is inside of Rose Red. Okay, so that's the science that they're pulling out. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second if you didn't catch it good. This is Baba Yaga. Smoking out of her bones. Her? Yeah, man, that's a her, man.
It's strange, but it is.
Yeah, man, it's a witch, Baba Yaga. Now, in some of the old theology, Baba Yaga, obviously, which would have worked for Geppetto. Geppetto, the father of Pinocchio. Them is some old-time European outlook at this stuff. These people that we have, Mother Goose and all of these killers here, these are old European gargoyle stories that they bring to us, the Brothers Grimm. Attention, everyone. The Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge is inviting you to join us in September for the African Union CARICOM Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Sign up for the 3-day package and be a part of the AU CARICOM Summit, plus take in all of the sights of Addis Ababa, the new flower. Or you can opt for our 9-day cultural national tour, and that will engulf sites like Lalibela, Aksum, the Simeon Mountains, and much more. Transportation, accommodation, and your meals all included. So contact us now and reserve your spot. Email us priestisaacInstitute@gmail.com or visit our website priestisaacInstitute.com. Ethiopia. See you there. The Olmec Mayan calendar is a system of 3 interlacing calendars and and almanacs, which was used by several cultures in Central America, most famously the Mayan civilization. The Olmec Mayan calendar rose to fame in 2012 when a great cycle of its long component came to an end, inspiring some to believe that the world would end on the 21st day of December 2012. Of course, that did not happen. This was the alignment of the sun and planet Earth and the center of the Milky Way galaxy, where there is a supermassive black hole. The Mayan calendar, as it is most famously referred to as, dates back to at least 5th century BCE, and it is still in use in some Mayan communities today. However, even though the Mayans contributed to the further development of the calendar, they did not actually invent it. The same system was used by most cultures in pre-Columbian Central America, including the Olmec. Family. I mean that, family. Our youths, our young ones, our children, we need them, redeem them, and clean them. You see them, or else the enemy will come and scheme them. Family. I mean that, family. Education for the nation that's full of salvation, biology, astronomy, and African theology, geography. Family. I love that, family. Whatever the age or the stage, that youth will be engaged with tutorials, activities, and videos from the studios of the Priest Isaac Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Family.
The International Homeschool Program is designed and recommended for all ages. The psychological state of our children is very important, especially in the environment that most of us live in. The International Homeschool Program provides online classes, activities, and videos that are fun for the youth and edifies them of their African heritage as well as the higher sciences. To enroll your family today, visit www.priestisaacinstitute.com, go to the main website, and search for Youth Corner. Or you can email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com for a course sample. Thank you, thanks.
At this moment, we are celebrating the Buck Moon, which is said to be a Capricorn moon, although it is in the constellation of Sagittarius. Blessed love, royal family, glorify Haile Selassie I, Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. How many of you have seen the picture of Emperor Haile Selassie I in the moon? We will be getting to all of that. This is one of the programs in the series of programs for the fundraising campaign for the mission to Ethiopia. Attention, everyone. The Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge is inviting you to join us in September for the African Union CARICOM Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Sign up for the 3-day package and be a part of the AU CARICOM Summit, plus take in all of the sights of Addis Ababa, the new flower. Or you can opt for our 9-day cultural national tour, and that will engulf sites like Lalibela, Aksum, the Simeon Mountains, and much more. Transportation, accommodation, and your meals all included. So contact us now and reserve your spot. Email us priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com or visit our website priestisaacinstitute.com. Ethiopia. See you there. And yes, once again, we do say salamtan, blessed love and joy. And obviously, it is on. So those of you who are definitely going to be with us for the African Union CARICOM Tour Summit, and of course, the national tour in Ethiopia and much more, you definitely need to contact us now. Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. And those of you who are still not sure of the mission to Ethiopia and what it is all about, I am inviting you to give us a contact via the same email and of course get your copy of the mission. Again, royal family, the mission to Ethiopia is a diplomatic/business mission. And of course, we are highlighting our culture as Rastafari. We are highlighting our business as creation content creators. And I'm talking not only on social media, we are highlighting the ambassador's pen and we are highlighting the magazine Kidemi. Remember, royal family, you as well can play a part in this mission to Ethiopia, but it is very important that you comprehend, understand the mission first and foremost. I am inviting each and everyone to advertise with us in the upcoming ambassador's pen and of course the upcoming magazine Kidemi. Very important. Those of you who have not partaken of the ambassador's pen, well, I'm talking about our recently released ambassador's pen for the 1st of July is highlighting the Benin bronze artifacts, highlighting the return of the Benin bronze artifacts. You can get a beautiful full-page ad in the ambassador's pen. You can get a beautiful half-page ad in the ambassador's pen. You can get a column in the ambassador's pen as well. And keeping in mind, the ambassador's pen is a monthly magazine directly highlighting geopolitics, a bit of culture and history as well. But of course, remember the granddaddy, let us just be clear about this, is the magazine Kidemi. Now, Kidemi comes out twice per year, and Kidemi for sure highlights everything. I'm talking about the icon. I'm talking about international culture, geopolitics as well, mystics, history, astronomy. Yes, I'm talking about lifestyles and everything in between. It's the magazine Kidemi, and the upcoming edition of Kidemi, which is just in a month's time. This will be the specific magazine that we will be highlighting on our mission to Ethiopia. So again, all of this is a part of the fundraiser campaign, and we are reaching out to those of you who comprehend the mission. And this is why understanding the mission is so important. You don't deal with things you don't understand. You see what I'm saying? And again, this is something, our brainchild. This is not something that has been there for anyone to just grab and use. So maybe ones have never even, thought of the questions that we are answering. You think the answer is something. Just the question, we never even thought of that question. So we're bringing the answer for questions, or the answers for questions that have never even been thought of. That's the point I'm making. So it's innovative. It's something new. Brethren and sisters just rising up and saying, we're going to Africa, we're going to Ethiopia, we want to be a part of the African Union CARICOM Summit. We have approached the government of the nation
that we live in as a diplomatic representative of Rastafari, looking to organize and assist us even on this mission. The organization and the assistance has not come forth as yet, at least not at the time of the recording of this. This is very important, and this is why we are encouraging again, Royal Family, those of you who really want to comprehend the mission, don't be afraid to contact us, Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com, and of course, get your copy of what is known as the proposal highlighting the mission to Ethiopia. Okay, very important. And those of you who don't need to see no proposal, because you already understand what's going on and the depths thereof, all the better. As I said, you can contribute in many different ways, or I should say you can add to the mission, not necessarily contribute, add to the mission, because this is reciprocal here. So of course, as I said, we have some beautiful spots where your ads can be highlighted. You also can be a part of the mission itself. As I said, you can be a part of the experience by joining us also in Ethiopia. And then you have the different levels of sponsorship that you can choose from. And this is not sponsor like you're giving some money, you know. Again, this is business. So you're getting the products and the services for whatever sponsorship plan that you take. Of course, I'm just considering that you would have a business. And remember, we have a budget of $118,000 as far as the mission. The diplomatic / business mission. So the full sponsorship and the platinum sponsorship and the diamond sponsorship and the gold sponsorship and the silver sponsorship, it is all designed in a way that everyone that takes whatever package, they get in return the services that match that. So in other words, most of the sponsorships, we will literally create a digital catalog for you. So let's just say you have a restaurant. Let's just say you have a jewelry store, and you are contributing, or you are adding to the mission. Let's say you're saying, I'm going to take a gold sponsorship of $26,000. We're going to create for you a magazine, first and foremost. A magazine, that's for the gold sponsorship, the diamond sponsorship, the platinum sponsorship, the full sponsorship. They all get a digital catalog. That means you get a literal online magazine like what you see us display. You understand? That's just one aspect of it. Different levels of sponsorships will get business cards, brochures. In fact, the whole realms of the sponsorships get that. We will display them when we go on tour and lectures and seminars and webinars, which obviously we will be doing. You understand? Those who take the full sponsorship will literally get a spreadsheet in every edition of both magazines for 2 years, and on and on and on it goes. The different levels of sponsorships has the different services that we offer, but it is for those who are serious. I've read this several times. I'm not going to read it now. Again, we have reached to the point where those who are serious would have already understood the mission, already decided what they're doing, or, okay, I'm a little behind, I'm going to get the proposal. You don't have to read it all for me, Uncle Priest. I will get the proposal myself and go through it with the family, because we know this is righteousness of salvation, and this ain't no kiddie club. That's from my heart I'm speaking there. And then, of course, you know, there is the simple level. You can just simply donate. For those of you who say, well, I'm not going to be there, I'm not coming to Ethiopia, I got something to do. Okay, fair enough. Well, you know, I don't have no business. I don't need to put nothing in no magazine. It is all up to you. And what's the other option? We have other options there. Oh, well, you know, I'm not no big businessman. I don't think I can take a sponsorship. All right, fair enough, but you can donate. You can add to the mission. whether it's 5,000, whether it's $50. Each and everyone can add to the mission. And of course, we have the different aspects of, you know, the connection from the Cash App and the Zelle and the PayPal. Of course, you can contact us, Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. In fact, that's the handle for most of these expression and exchange. We went into a lot of things astronomical and astrological, and it was really upful at a bit of some of which I will be even touching in a moment. But it was a beautiful exchange, and we give thanks for the royal brother and give thanks for his network and the work that he is putting out. And we are also extremely appreciative that he would have even taken the time to reach out to us as well. We were speaking highly about the whole aspect of the zodiac and the time frame. And that is something that is important, even as we are speaking of the current full moon. As you know, it is what they refer to as a buck moon. And the buck represents the deer, the male deer. I think this is the time that the deer, after shedding its antlers, would begin to grow them back, something of the sort. So it's the buck moon, and it is considered to be a Capricorn moon. Quite interesting, as Capricorn would represent to most people the goat. And what is interesting, though, to those of us who are ancient astronomers, is that the moon is not in Capricorn. The moon is really in Sagittarius. And as I've explained over and over again, I'm not taking away even the energy, because the moon is much swifter than the sun, and the moon is actually on its way to Capricorn. In fact, at the time of the doing of this video, the moon would be really taking in some strong Capricorn energy. But again, at 4:37 on the 10th of July, when the moon was officially registered as being full, it was strongly in Sagittarius, because remember, the time is moving. So if you're giving us a central, a Pisces age astrological reading when we are going into the Aquarius age, it's going to be a bit off. You know, and that's just, you know, we're not making no big fuss about it. That's just the reality. And I will show you that in a moment. And I am going to show to everyone that the man in the moon, yes, the man in the moon. We've always heard about the man in the moon. I know many of you know this, but without a doubt, all artists can come forward. The man in the moon is Emperor Haile Selassie I. Attention, everyone. The Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge is inviting you to join us in September for the African Union CARICOM Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Sign up for the 3-day package and be a part of the AU CARICOM Summit, plus take in all of the sights of Addis Ababa, the new flower. Or you can opt for our 9-day cultural national tour, and that will engulf sites like Lalibela, Aksum, the Simeon Mountains, and much more. Transportation, accommodation, and your meal all included. So contact us now and reserve your spot. Email us priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com or visit our website priestisaacinstitute.com. Ethiopia. See you there. Oh, yes, beautiful royal family. Definitely looking forward to your presence there with us. Now, before I actually go into the position of the current full moon, the buck moon of the 10th of July, let us just highlight again the man in the moon situation here. And in reality, I think we all grew up hearing about this man in the moon. In fact, on one of those programs, Welcome to Pooh Corner, they had a song that they used to sing, the man in the moon is a tiger. You know, well, maybe it's a tiger too. But the thing is, let me be clear here, the moon is a very mystic thing. You see, when the Bible says that the
heavens declare the glory of God. It is not a joke, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. It is nothing to scoff at. It goes on to say, day unto day uttereth speech. You hear anything? Night unto night show it knowledge, not show it beauty. Twinkle, twinkle, little, that one is blue, red, and green. No, it is showing knowledge. And those who understand, again, the science. That is why we promote ancient astronomy, even above astrology and even above astronomy. Ancient astronomy is the deepest of the heavenly celestial science. That is how the heavens declare the glory. When you understand the mathematics, when you understand the right ascension, when you understand the declination, when you understand the coordinates, which is the celestial latitude and longitude, when you understand the quasars, when you understand the galaxies and the supernovae and all of these different things, and then even the makeup of the planet. That's why you get into some heavy astronomy, bioastronomy, and astrobiology, I should say, and radio astrology, astronomy. So all of that is the heavens declare the glory. Not just the sky is beautiful. It's a deep science. And then now, the theology that comes with it is embedded in the science. It's more than just, well, the sun rises in the morning and sets and go under the earth. And that is symbolic of Christ rising, dying, and resurrection and reincarnation. That is true. I agree. But that's preschool. We've been there for a long time. You understand? We've been talking about the Dogons reading the stars forever. Every one of us in Africa read the stars. Let's just not get caught up with the curriculum of the linear thinkers. The Bozos read the stars. The Dendara read the stars. The Ethiopian Orthodox priests read the stars. You understand? So the heavens declaring the glory is a very beautiful thing. And the man in the moon science is extremely deep. There's more than just a man in the moon. You know? The moon has so many different pictures. For those who study the moon properly, it's almost like the mask of Lord Pakal, where you see the three figures, but there are many other figures within it. I wonder if the family is with me. But the most outstanding image that is in the moon is the image of Emperor Haile Selassie. Now, you see, when you really get it and you can see it with your eyes on the night of the full moon, go and look at it tonight. The moon is still full. And you pick it up, it stays with you forever. That is why I sometimes ask myself, brethren and sisters that turn back. You know, they have people that turn back. Yeah, literally turn back from the faith. You understand? After seeing the man in the moon, some of them would have showed it to other people. You know, see Selassie in the moon? Look, you see the cap. Look, the badge in the cap. You understand? When I saw it for the first time, I had a brethren that it took his time and showed it to me. You understand? Some of these brethren, they would have turned back. Sometimes I wonder when they look and see the man in the moon, what comes to their mind, because it's not something you can easily forget. You understand? So family, when you observe the different craters and the seas, you know, you have the Sea of Tranquility and the Sea of Sanity. All of these are highlighted when you look at, first of all, the picture of Haile Selassie, because there's a picture of the Honorable King Emmanuel in the moon too. But let us take our time, one at a time. Now, when you observe, again, Haile Selassie I within the moon structure, you literally see the outline of the cap, the famous cap that we see the king wear, to the point that you even see the badge in the cap, and of course the beard lining, the outline of the king's beard. Now, of course, in this rendition, I would have literally added the peak. So let me be clear here. No cheating here. I would have added the peak. Now, unless there's something there that I've missed, but I added the peak just for clarity. But anyone that looks at the moon, especially when you see it with your eyes, and you got an understanding of, okay, this is what we're looking at, you can't deny it. There is a man in the moon. You cannot deny it. And the man that you see in the moon, the image that you get, is Emperor Haile Selassie I. Now you may say, well, brother, that's what you see. Okay, I will leave it at that. I'm not going to argue that at all. I ain't going to change anything, but I'm just giving the obvious in an expression. Now, as I said, maybe some other time. In fact, we would have touched upon this already. You know, you can see Marcus Messiah Garvey in the moon. Somehow it's not as obvious as the King of Kings. You can see the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards in the moon. That is super obvious, to the point that the Honorable King Emmanuel has a certain specific shape in his face, and even that is expressed in the moon. His turban, his eyes, his nose, his white beard, all of that is seen undoubtedly. I'm talking about in the moon. So again, no, don't go anywhere. We're not done as yet. You know, as I said, this is the buck moon, officially on the 10th of July, and 4:37, according to the records, is exactly when the buck moon would have come into view. All right. Beautiful. So what I just wanted to highlight again, Royal Family, as I said, we had a beautiful program a few evenings ago. We were with our good brethren speaking on the whole aspect of the science of the birth of Rastafari, the science of the birth of Emperor Haile Selassie I, as it relates to, you know, the astronomy and when he was born. And as I said, that was a beautiful, beautiful rendition with the Lion crew, the Lion family, of course, in the Lion's Den, Lion Pride. All right, beautiful. So we were looking now, I'm looking now at the sky chart, and we are observing the present situation. Well, not at the moment of this recording, but the moon became full just a bit after 4 p.m. on the 10th day of July. So the 10th of July, the 10th day of July, 2025, we had the official full moon in the month of July, which is considered to be a buck moon. And again, the whole buck moon concept really is symbolized by the antlers on the buck, the antlers on the deer, and the way that they come out at that time of the year. Okay, fair enough, good. So you can see Capricorn here, and you can see that the moon is not necessarily in Capricorn, and you see the moon, as I said, is not only in Sagittarius, but it would not have passed over that threshold, which would have made it into the zone of what is known as Capricorn. Not going to go too deep into the astronomy of it, but I'm just highlighting that the full moon is more associated with Sagittarius for sure than with Capricorn. But we know why that happens. It's because astrology, as I would have explained several times, is using a calculation that is several hundred years old, which was stuck in the past, and it doesn't come alive like the living astronomy that we know today. Very beautiful. And interestingly, Neptune is twinned with Saturn at this time, which is an extremely, extremely high spiritual energy. These are spiritual planets. You know, Saturn is the planet that is directly related to the cannabis. Very good. So Royal Family, give thanks for the moment. As I said, this was a program directly connected to our fundraiser campaign as it relates to the mission to Ethiopia.